like slim, sometimes I like dick, sometimes I combine and I like them slick. Them slick probably went over your head. Couldn't lay up, I just went over for head. Made her change of plans when she bent over the bed. And now she on the balcony, pinned over the ledge. Been a few days, but I sent over some bread. It can get rough with tuition and rent over your head. Not to save hoes or rescue anybody, but a nigga know it's stress to the body. And I done seen you in the best shoes, buzzing naughty. Shit be looking like fresh.
What's good, everybody? We about to start the stream in a little bit. So for today's stream, though, we are going to be talking again about the evolution of dating. I remember a lot of people afterwards had a lot more to say about it, and I kind of ended it a little too early. So we're going to continue on that, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff. There's going to be a little bit of random topics here and there. Nothing concrete for that. But, hopefully sit back and enjoy the ride, grab your popcorn, sit with your loved ones, and hopefully you can enjoy this podcast together with me, Polyman, Mello, my boy, Shanto.
Them slick girls get me every time. Them slick girls could get everything. Them slick girls get me every time. Them slick girls could get everything. She like, hold up, let me throw on something light. Bitch really went and threw on something tight. Came downstairs in a superwoman tights like da 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 da. Damn, I ain't know you was holding like that. I ain't know brown skin Kelly rolling like that. Never knew you had it with your sneaky ass. She said I never seen you looking with your peeking ass. 34, 24, 36. Finally got a selfie after taking 30 pics. 36, 24, 40. D cups, caption, double cup shorty, and it's angles to the shit. Angles to the shit. Gotta hold the phone up and put the angle on the pics. And then they broke it out and put that angle on the hip. Having thirsty niggas come from every angle at the bitch
All right, so we're about to start this. We about to start the podcast. So we got a newcomer in here. If you want to do a quick introduction, please, and let the stream know who you are.
Hello. They call me that dude Shanto. I'm like the Will Smith from the movie Hitch for Polly and Mello. And as of right now, that's all you need to know. Alrighty.
And we also have, our regulars, my good friend Mello and Polyman. If y'all wanted to give y'all introductions.
You know who it is. It's Mello, the coolest chick, best mod on Twitch. That's it. That's all I got today.
Polyman, do you want to do one?
He is not able to, but
Okay.
yo, what's up? It's Polly. I'm here. I'm doing things. Polyman, twitch.tv/Polyman. Okay, I did it for him. Sorry.
You're good. So that's everybody that's going to be in the podcast today. I am pretty sure we have Blue. He said he's going to be in a little bit later. But for right now, this is who the gang is. So again, the topic today is going to be about the evolution of dating, trying to get more in detail. And then we have a new person who's going to really go in detail and talk about their experience with dating, especially with online dating and whatnot. So, since you're new here, and I want you to get some spotlight, share your experience with just online dating and just going down that road.
Okay, well, for me, even before I even experienced it recently, I already knew a long time ago that online dating doesn't work. That's just what I believe in, and it didn't work out for me, but it might work for others. Just for me, experience-wise, I don't recommend it. So I knew that before getting into one, and I got into one 2 years ago. I met this girl in a VR social app, and we hit it off, and we were, I guess, together. I don't know, but it was just, the whole thing was weird to me because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in long distance relationships. She was in the East Coast. She's in the East Coast. I'm West Coast. So it was kind of hard because everything was virtual and online. And so we were together for a while and it was going great. And then it just changed out of nowhere. And I feel like if you don't see the person in real life and it's just a virtual thing, I don't think it's going to last. And especially if the person is all the way far away from you, it's hard. So
Yeah.
the experience I had was cool. Like, I had some good memories with that person online, but it just changed for the worse. And I don't think long distance slash virtual dating is should like I don't think anyone should even bother with it because I went through it and I think it's a waste of time.
Okay, so then that kind of leads me to a question for you. All right. So if you guys were to like, make trips, you know how like Mellow and Polyman, like they make trips to see each other. So if
Yeah.
you were to like to make a trip, or if she was to like make a surprise trip to see you while y'all were dating, right? Do you feel
Right.
like then it would have worked out, or do you feel like
I feel like it would have been like a one-time thing because we're so far away from each other. And like she's got her own life and I've got my own life, so I don't think it would have went any further than that. Like, it would have been great meeting her in person, but I don't think it would have continued.
now, I would like to digest on that. But Mello, you got anything to say on that real quick?
Well, I mean, the one thing I could say would be it's you gotta meet. Like, I feel like, you say that it would have been one time thing and like probably never gone anywhere, but you don't know. Like, what if the sparks flew and everything? But that being said, the fact that neither one of you did make the trip to see if those sparks were there, like, what if, like, you met the girl and like you're like, you know what, I'm never fucking flying back, let's do this, it just, and I'm not saying your situation in like specifically because I know that there was so much more angles to that, but like in general, you don't really know until you do meet the person. Like, we have a friend who I'm not going to name any names. It's all three of us actually know him, who he was in about a year and a half. Was it a year and a half? Year and a half relationship.
Something like that.
Yeah, over borders. So it was US and Canada. And they just ended it yesterday, day before yesterday.
2 days ago.
Just because that's all it was online, and they didn't see an opportunity to see each other anytime soon. So I do think you have to just meet to know, but if there's never going to be a meet, then yeah, there's never going to be a happy ending. So I don't think you can solely be online long distance.
Yeah. And I kind of like, I felt that, because then if you look at my position and kind of what I'm going through, like I'll be traveling, right? And there's gonna be a lot of times where I won't be able to be there in person all the time. So then, kind of how you're saying it is just like, technically I would have a virtual relationship for a while, but I feel like, if you really think about it, and if you really I'm not saying you didn't put in the time or effort, but like if you really if like both of you guys like put in the effort to go see each other, you really don't know if sparks could have went, and or if things could have went further, especially because when you meet somebody in person, that changes everything. I learned that.
It does. It's just my situation was a little more complicated, so it just didn't work out. And later on, it just died out where she kind of just stopped talking to me and I stopped talking to her. So it was like it was over at this point. It's not the same and it's different, but it's okay. I have accepted it. I'm not even upset about it. I went in this knowing that this isn't going to work out. and that's exactly what happened. I
It's
don't
kind
want
of
to
like
think.
it was good while it lasted, sort of thing.
I didn't want to think negative about it because I don't think I was hoping that, like, for the best. I was hoping for things to work out, but I also had it in the back of my head where I don't think this is gonna work out, and it
But
didn't.
could that have possibly been like a reason behind it not working out though? Like if you
No, I don't.
you know.
I don't think that was the. I don't think that was the reason. I think it's just because I don't believe in it, and
Yeah.
that didn't work out for me. I think because I didn't believe that it would actually work out, that's why it probably didn't work out. But not only that, there's a lot of other things that I have to deal with.
Oh yeah, there's so many
You know,
layers.
so
to
I don't
that,
want to
yeah.
talk about that specific stuff. There's no way I'm gonna talk about that. But yeah, it just didn't work out for me. And if it works out for others, great. Like, more power to those couple, you know. But it didn't work out for me, and that's okay. Like, I'm not devastated. I've accepted it.
Yeah,
I
which
just
is
think that
no, you go.
I just think that like relationships that are destined to be only online or only virtual, that could put, I mean, that just doesn't seem like it will.
I mean, because
I could
then
see that.
yeah,
That's what it kind of seemed like for us. I didn't think it was gonna go anywhere more than that. So I just said, all right, it is what it is. And she kind of stopped talking, and I stopped talking, and I'm okay with it. I'm not even upset or anything. It
Yeah.
is what it is, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like with that, it's like, because when you really sit there and think about it, especially when it comes to online, it gets to a point where it's just like you're just saying these empty words, right? I'm not saying like you didn't mean it, but like it feels like empty words because it's just like you can't really back it up since everything's just online. You know, you'll never act like, if you would never actually get to see the person or spend the time with them in person, everything feels like you're just acting. Or it feels like, for example, like with role playing, that's what it feels like. It feels like you're just role playing a relationship, and that you're just trying to force something that's not actually there, because that's, you know what I mean? Or
I totally
yeah.
agree with you, and that's why I say meeting people in the, like, natural way in person is better than doing anything online, dating wise. That
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And that's kind of where I wanted to go, where it's just like, you know, if like, say for instance, like, so you know how dating apps always tell you it's like this person's like 2 miles away from you, or like a mile away from you, right? Or
Yeah.
like, so, you know, what if, for example, you saw somebody who's like a mile away from you, right? But they were only visiting for the day, like for the weekend or something. You actually got to, but you know, you match with them. You decide to say, fuck it, let me try this, and you sit down and, you know, you hang out with them for the weekend, and then they leave. Would that entitle you, or would that encourage you to go out to see them in person again? Or would you just be like, well, that was just a one-time thing, a little fun thing that I wanted to do?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. It depends. What's that? What did you say?
Chemistry is one of them.
Yeah, that it depends if there's a strong connection, you know, and if there is, then yeah, I'll fly out there and see if it'll work out and hope for the best. And if it does, great. Then I'll just keep flying and she'll keep flying, whatever. But if there's no chemistry, if there's no communication right off the bat, there's like certain flags I look out for. And if I notice those certain flags, then I'm out. Bye.
Yeah. I'm gonna use an example for me, right? So one of my exes, I met her in France. We dated for a year, long distance, and we were both in high school, so you know, we didn't have the ability to just stop what we're doing and go to see each other, which, you know, which really sucked. But like, you know, the connection was there, the chemistry was there, but we couldn't give each other what we wanted to give each other because of the fact that, you know, we couldn't, like, that barrier of, this just feels like a role play. It feels just like online, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's always hard when you really think about it, like, online. And, you know, kudos to anybody who's had a very long, successful
yeah,
long distance relationship. Kudos to you guys, and I wish you guys the best. But I've learned in just my experience with just a lot of long distance relationships, it's like it's the hardest shit you have to do.
It is, man.
Yeah,
There's
It is.
rules and there's exceptions. Like, you know, it's kind of like rule of thumb. They just don't work. But there's exceptions. There's people that make it work, but it's just more likely to end.
Yeah, it's definitely not my cup of tea. I will not go through that again. I didn't want to
yeah,
originally, and it happened, and so I was like, screw it, whatever, I'll try it. But then it still didn't work out, so that's it. I'm done with that.
Yeah, basically, it's how much risk are you gonna take for the person in front of you online? You know, like what sacrifices are you gonna make to make it work? You know, like if one party's making sacrifices and the other one's not, then it's not gonna end up pretty.
That's
You know, it's just
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt towards the end. I felt like I was trying to communicate with her more than she was towards the end.
Mhm.
And I noticed it and I said, okay, you know what? If she's not willing to give the same effort as I am, then why am I even trying? So I stopped.
yeah. I think kind of what we're all kind of going for is just like it's all based off of effort, right? But now I kind of want to move on to unless Mello, you had something you was about to say.
Well, I mean, because I think y'all fucking know that I had technically, because like Shant was saying with his online relationship, you didn't necessarily call her your girlfriend or like.
I
It
didn't
was,
because
yeah,
I don't know. I didn't know what it was, Like we did
you
like each
kind of
other.
never really do. Yeah, like with,
Yeah.
like, my situation was quite similar. It was a lot shorter, but I didn't know if him and I were I mean, I knew we were something. Like there was a relationship built, but like there wasn't. It's the norm to just like not even have like a label on it or anything, because it's like I think we always knew it was not. There's no happy ending to this. It's just a temporary thing, temporary fix, if anything. I mean, I know I found out the hard way it was a temporary fix for the guy, but I don't know.
Yeah. And now I kind of want to move in because now that you said that, I kind of want to move into something. So and this might be a little controversial, but like, so gender norms, especially when it comes to dating, like, the whole thing where it's just like the man is always supposed to, pay for the dates, open up the doors, open up the car doors, and then the women's just supposed to, sit back, be kind. I don't want to say lazy, but just let all of it happen. Don't really do much, and then like in the relationship, just be more of a housewife in a sense.
Like kind of like the 60s.
Yeah, kind of like the 60s. And I've been seeing a lot of people like bring it back up over and over again, especially on Twitter and Instagram, where it's just like, and even on dating apps, a lot of people talk about, just being the housewife or just like living up to those 60s type gender norms when it comes to dating. And my whole thing is, what do you guys feel about that, or what do you guys feel about gender norms in general? Because
I
ah,
think I think it's a good thing. Like, I mean, there should be respect, and I don't mind like opening the door for my girlfriend or, like holding the door when she's getting out of a store. That stuff is really not a big deal to me. When it comes to like being the man of the house and the only one working, sure, that should be the way it is, but it's not because of the current state people live in and how expensive things are. So there has to be another person to help and basically help and be able to live. Unless you're like a doctor or a lawyer, and depending where you live, I live in California, so everything is crazy expensive here. And so, I mean, I don't mind being the man to pay for everything. Obviously, that would be great if I made enough money. I would love to do that, and I wouldn't care if my wife was working or not. But it's hard. Sometimes you do need the backup and the help to survive.
And with that being said, like the whole you're saying cost and whatnot, I think the reason it's actually kind of coming back more, like I know more than anybody that childcare is like, I mean, you're paying somebody just as much as you're going to fucking make at work. So it's almost like half the time it's near impossible to work and pay for childcare. So like half the time moms are staying home because it's actually the cheaper option these days. Like childcare is ridiculous. So prices on childcare went up tremendously over the last probably decade or two. I mean, I don't know. We can go into I don't think we want to go into the economy too deep.
Well,
That'll go a whole nother direction. But
I mean, you're talking to an economics major, so you don't want to. You really don't want to go into that topic.
but I think that the economy state, yeah, has a huge impact
It
on
does.
it's not even about like moral values anymore. It's about like stability and
Survival,
like how
basically.
survival, yeah.
Being the backbone to each other, basically. That's literally it.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, and like my whole thing was so as a child, my grandma, my mom always taught me that I should be the one to hold open the door for, you know, my significant other or for women in general, or I should pull out the chair, open up the car door. And but they also always told me that, you know, don't get a woman who wants you to provide for everything, because, you know, nowadays everybody has the ability to provide, and the same people who talk about the same people who really wants to be taken care of are the same people that would bring you down in life. So, you know, that's kind of what my mom and my parents and my grandma always taught me was, you know, to always look for somebody who has something going for themselves, and always look for somebody who you know, doesn't want you just to provide for them. But when I look, especially around my current generation, or around this current generation, a lot of people just want to be taken care of, spoiled. And then you see a lot of things where it's just like, I need a sugar daddy, I want to get spoiled. And I'm just like, you know, why go that path in life? Like, I understand it's nice to be taken care of, but where's the independence, especially in relationships? Because what if y'all split? What are you going to do if you guys split and then you're left fending for yourself again, or you're left not knowing how to do anything because you've been dependent on this one person, you know? But it gets socially accepted sometimes in a lot of places to just be taken care of for women, or for men just to take care of the woman. And I understand it, but like, I feel like you both should, you know, be able to provide for yourselves independently before y'all can even come together and provide for each other as a
And I
relationship.
think it
I
goes
totally
both
agree with that.
ways, like men and women. I mean, I was with somebody for 8 years, and when we split, I swear that motherfucker like lost his mind because he didn't know how to like do the basic stuff. He knew how to make money. Like he knew how to run a business and have an income, but that's like it. I met him right out of his parents' house. I became the new mom in his life, and like he didn't know how to do a fucking load of laundry right. Like he had to fucking learn all that shit as a grown ass adult. So I mean, it's not just the like financial stability of a relationship, it also goes for like all the little bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. Real reality.
Reality, yeah.
Sorry. I agree with you. Your grandma and parents are very smart for the way they told you or the way they raised you. It's just a matter of respect too, you know? Like it's not only just your girlfriend, it's women in general, like you said. It's just respect, and you're also right about both individuals should have something going for them, because I was in a relationship with my ex-girlfriend for 7 years, and that was also a disaster where I she I spent so much money on her and she didn't work, and it was me at the time working, and she was just so materialistic. There's plenty of examples of what I've done for her that she showed no gratitude, and it drove me nuts. But I was in love with her. I just think that materialistic women shouldn't be in a relationship because that's all they give a shit about. They just want what they want, and they want someone to take care of them. But it's wrong. It shouldn't be like that. And I'm not saying most women are like that, but there are women out there who are like that, especially where I'm at in California. There's plenty of them here. But yeah, you're definitely right. I think both individuals should have something going for them.
And I agree with you, Shanto, on that one because certain people know my situation back then when I was with my ex before 2014. It was very similar to yours. She was very materialistic, but it never changed my attitude towards women because a lot of guys basically after like a toxic relationship change how they see women. But it's
True.
like it's literally all women are different, so it shouldn't be if you're in a toxic relationship, treat this person the same way like you feel about that person. So it's like everybody gets a chance to get the full force of you, like who you really are. And it's just yeah, I got fucking cheated on and basically the chick went and got an abortion without telling me and just all this bullshit. So
Oh shit.
yeah, that was my situation, but it never changed the way I look at women. You know,
Yeah,
like I'll still open up doors. I'll still freaking buy flowers for no reason. You know, because every woman deserves the best version of you,
I
regardless of the
agree.
situation.
I agree. It never changed. It never changed the way I looked at women either. It's because like there's good and bad in everything. You know, you can't just base uh all women off one bad shitty relationship. So um yeah.
Hey,
Anyway,
Blue, I see that you got into this conversation.
Well, hello, hello.
Hey, so we were kind of touching base. The topic kind of started out with reality saying like how things have kind of changed, but it's kind of going back to the more traditional form as like women staying home, men going to work. I think COVID had a huge impact on that too, to be honest. Like a lot of moms had to quit their jobs and go home because there was nowhere to take their kids. So, I mean, that's kind of the topic we're on right now is just gender norms.
Yeah, we're on gender norms right now, and I really wanted to hear your opinion on that, Blue, because I know we talk about it a lot, just about dating and men and women's side of dating. So I really want to hear your opinion on this.
So I say it all the time. Me personally, I feel like that each person in a relationship should have the ability to be able to fend for themselves. They should have the ability to be able to go out there and make it on their own if they absolutely need to. I feel like that men should play a little bit more of the provider role, but it's not necessary. So me personally, I want to be my woman's accessory. I don't want her to need me, but I damn sure want to compliment her when I'm around her. I want to hold those doors open. I want to be able to pay for her meal. I want to be able to take her car when she's asleep and go fill it up with gas for her. I want to be able to do those things, but I don't want it to be a necessity. I still want her if I'm not feeling good, if I go out of town for some reason, if we're just away, that I can know that she can still provide for herself if she absolutely has to, but it's not necessary when I am around.
Yeah, and kind of what I learned just through my years and kind of studied is that it always takes two to do things. Like nobody's really perfect, but when you're together with somebody, that's what makes you perfect. You can't have a kid alone. Like you need two people to make a kid. So there's always like a 50-50 type of rule. So I feel like when it comes to life, the relationship should be 50-50. I'm not saying that, it should go 50-50 with bills or 50-50 with that. I'm talking about it should go your that person is putting in the same exact emotion as the other person. That person's putting in the same exact effort as the other person. You just because like you can't, because people's jobs are different. They can't always go 50-50 with stuff. But like, say for instance, this person is paying the bills or is out here doing something, then the other person should do something of equivalency. And so so that doesn't mean like, oh, just because, like, say for instance, like you decide, like I decide I'm cooking for today, right? Then if my girlfriend, which I wish I had one, my girlfriend would be like, okay, since you cooked today, I'll clean. Like doing stuff like that. I'm not saying it has to be like with economics wise or like finance wise, because I understand that not everybody has it like that. And not every job can make it so it's 50-50. But, at least have the effort where it can be 50-50,
Yeah, I agree with
That's
that.
how my parents were. They had it like all over the place. But an example is they just knew if one of them cooked the main dish for dinner, the other one's doing the dishes after dinner. Like it was just, yeah, like the little things to make it equal.
Yeah, so I'm not saying like it has to be like a huge thing, because most people when they talk about 50-50, they talking about, oh, like go 50 on a bill or go 50 on dinner. You ain't got to do that. Like it could just be simple stuff. Because I understand not everybody has it in life and not everybody can make it in life. So, to be flexible, you got to be able to show that emotion and show that flexibility with each other.
I feel like one of the things, touching on that as well, that is getting kind of misconstrued, since a lot of things are starting to be like gender neutral or gender equal or whatever, that a lot of women, I think historically, women were made to feel less than, and it was proven. Like women historically got paid less money, like they had less opportunities, they had less jobs. And now that we're starting to bring things up to equal, or in a lot of instances where women make more, I feel like some men feel threatened by that. Some men, first of all, feel threatened, like, hey, she makes more money than I do, or she has better opportunities than I have. But also, touching on the same hand, right on the flip side, is a lot of women now, instead of just that man feeling threatened, women go, well, I don't need a man because I can afford this on my own. I can do this on my own, or I can do that. And I feel like that on both sides, a lot of times that's where a lot of problems end up coming. And then everybody's unhappy. You feel less than a lot of the women that you talk to. So a guy would rather be single than to feel inferior to a woman. Or a lot of women end up being single and not being happy because, well, unless I can get somebody to meet these ridiculously high standards, nobody's good enough for me.
And
What's crazy? Go ahead.
no, you go, because I was gonna move on to a different topic. So
You guys ever see that video of Anthony Mackie talking about making me a sandwich?
yeah, I saw that.
Bro, that's literally it. It's like if one person's asking for something and you're basically providing for them, like helping them out as much, and you say, "Oh, make your own sandwich." And it's like, where's this? I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Like I watched that and I was like, man, this guy's spitting hard facts.
Yeah, and for people who don't know like what he's talking about, he's just like, I if, say for instance, I pay for bills and everything, and then he's like, and he comes home and he's just like, make me a sandwich. And then she just says, go make your own sandwich. But she's sitting in the house just not really doing much. Basically, he's saying like, you like make me a sandwich, like scratch my back, I scratch yours type of deal. So, and I understand that. And that's kind of where I wanted to move into. And, Blue was kind of hitting on this, was about standards that we have for men and women, where it's like women who are like 5'2" want a guy that's 7 foot, or like 6 foot, be more realistic, like 6 foot and above, and then like men who have these standards for women, and then kind of like for both sides bash each other because they're not like this, or feel attacked just because, you know, of preferences. So how you guys feel about that?
I couldn't date a guy shorter than me. Like I don't know. I know that's not what you were saying. You were talking like 5'2" to 6 foot, but I'm just saying like I guess that's like one standard I've always held, but that's like it. You can't really think of any
I
other
think it's
real
just everyone's
standard.
like preference, you know, but I don't think people should bring the flaws out on in people,
But like he
you
said,
know.
like people are like held to these standards
Yeah,
sometimes.
so
Like
that's the thing. I think there's a difference between standard. Like some people get bashed now because of their preferences. It's like, you know, just because you prefer a certain thing, like, oh my god, you're being like, you're bashing a certain group of people. How dare you say you would never date anybody short, or you would never date anybody who, you know, has this particular skin complexion, or, you know, there's like, so one of my best friends that I have is a white guy, and that's the start to every racist joke. But one of my best friends is a white guy, and we have the conversation all the time. And he tells me, he's like, Blue, like, I've tried, I've dated a black girl or two in the past before, and I just can't. I just don't prefer black women. And that's his fucking choice.
right,
Like, that is
fine.
complete his choice.
Exactly.
But some people will go, oh, well, oh, it's because you're racist.
That's
It's
because of
because
the
you're a
world we live
white
in
guy.
now.
Yeah, you're a white guy, and how dare you say you would never date a black girl? I'm like, people aren't even entitled to their own opinions or preferences anymore.
Nope.
The world we
Everything
live
is
in
stereotyped.
now is stupid, and everything is, oh, you're this, you're that. It's like, but this is what I like though.
You're
So
toxic for having
I don't
opinions. Yeah.
understand. Yeah, I don't understand. This is what I like, and I'm gonna go for what I like. I'm not gonna go for something I don't like. I don't understand why I'm getting hate for not going for what I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way. For instance, family values. My parents keep telling me, "Oh, you need to find someone that's Armenian." I've dated a bunch of Armenians. It's not my preference, and every time they say we're gonna find you an Armenian, I'm like, "Mom, we live in a melting pot. You guys brought us to the U.S.
That's
What do you expect?
exactly my parents
Like,
as well, dude.
literally, what do you expect? I'm gonna find someone that connects with me, that's not Armenian, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be Armenian. I could. It's like it doesn't make sense to me now because I could connect someone that's white, black, Asian, whatever, you know?
That-
And it just, if you two click beyond a certain level, you understand each other and work the relationship like a friendship and a business, then you're set.
That's exactly how my parents are, dude. You know my parents, Polly, and the like Armenians, Armenian culture. My parents, that's all they want. They want us to marry an Armenian girl. But it's like, how is that fair for us? You know, what if we don't like Armenian girls? What if we want, like Polly said, white, black, Asian, Mexican? We can't even do that because our parents want what we don't want, and it's like I've told
It,
my parents that my preference is like I like white girls, and I told them I'm gonna marry a white girl. If I find the right one, I'm gonna marry a white girl. And they just lose their shit. And I'm like, dude, this is my life. This is what I want. What do you care? But the reason why they care so much for us to get with an Armenian is because they want to keep the culture going. I think that's why they say
yeah,
Armenian girl. You know, it's not that they don't like any other race outside of Armenians. It's just they want to keep the culture going. So when the marriage happens, the in-laws and like my parents will be able to easily communicate with them, you know? Because if they have a different language, they're not gonna be able to understand them or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think it's all dumb, honestly. I think it's stupid. It's
totally.
just it sucks that we have to deal with it, but yeah, that's one thing that me and Polly have to deal with, and it
You know
sucks.
something that's really frustrating? A lot of parents and stuff do, dealing with this thing is like we're so open to all these other races. We're so open to all these other sexual preferences. We're open to people that date outside their race, or that people that like the same gender or whatever. It's like they're like, we're open to this. You know, that's the world now. That's what we're open to, except for my kids. I'm open to gays, except for my kids. They better not be. I'm open to interracial relationships, except for my kids. You better date, you know, a black girl, you know, or I mean, that's kind of. I guess we kind of touched back on what we were talking about last week with the standards that your family put on you. It's like they always try to say, I'm open to this, I'm open to that, and this is beautiful, and you know, I love seeing all these interracial children and all that, except for my fucking kids. Like, that's what they don't really try to tell you or put out there. It's like, you're open to all of this stuff, but then when it's behind closed doors, how dare you? How dare you try to step outside of our race, or you know, you try to date this particular person or whatever. It's like, it's really hard. Again, you don't want to let down your parents or your family, but after a while it's kind of like, listen, I'm sorry, this is my fucking life, I'm gonna do what it is that I want to do, and if you guys don't like it, tough, like, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
So,
That's how it is now, pretty much.
yeah.
And the crazy thing is, it's like a lot of races, for instance, that if your parents are old-fashioned, like Armenian parents, I could tell you this much, they want to keep it like a quote-unquote Aryan race kind of thing, you know. It's annoying as shit, you know. Like, if they wanted that, why don't they just stay in basically the lands they were from? That way we could find someone that's from that, like, basically race, you know what I mean? And we came out here. I'll give you guys an example. My sister, for instance, you know, she was married for about 10 years to an Armenian guy. Never worked out, never had a kid together. And my parents were happy for her that she left. But then she started dating a black guy. And now they're happy together. My parents were against it in the beginning. And slowly but surely, they, like, supported that. Now they have a kid together. And it's just, like, it just depends on the, like, when it comes down to the family side of it, it just depends how your family is towards you and how happy they see you. If they see you're happy and everything's going good, they're going to support you, of course. And it's just, at the end of the day, that's it.
I guess it's crazy that you guys have like family issues, but like even on top of the societal issues, like, because I know that's kind of how the topic started out, was like standards and how people kind of look down on you for standards and stuff. But I mean, me, like I said, my only is like short guys. I don't think my family would ever be like upset that I didn't go for short guys. So I guess I can't compare to what you guys were talking about. But like at the same time, like, I also don't have family that gives a flying fuck who I date, just as long as they make me happy. But no, I mean, I guess it would kind of suck if people are like, wow, you're so mean to short guys. Like, what if they were a nice guy? Or I'm like, I don't know. It's a matter of like not even starting out a relationship with a guy that's shorter than me. I tried, by the way.
Yeah, so actually I did now that you guys are talking about that, especially for Polyman, in Chateau, so literally I did a little case study on it for a class. I did a paper, and I was looking up why parents would do like the whole arranged marriage type of deal, or like always want you to, you know, date in your religion, culture, race. And a lot of families like to do that, and just like you guys said, so that, you know, you could continue that culture, to continue that, and it's like a guarantee that you'll continue in the culture. If you like marry a Muslim, like if a Muslim marries a Muslim, or Armenian marries an Armenian, like it stays within the culture, and you know they are accepting of it until it's actually time for their kids to do it, because they just like, well, you know, they do what they want because they're not my kids. But when it comes to my kids, I want them to stay in the culture. And especially, like you guys said, with the old school people, they love to do that. So, you know, and to talk about more about standards in general, though, for me, that's just like to say, for me, I don't like to date overweight women. It's my personal preference. But if I was to say that out loud, or to, to somebody, be like, I'm sorry, you're not my type, and they'll be like, why? And I'm like, well, there's no real way to put that,
You can't
because
really
now you're a
explain
fat
it.
shamer.
yeah, because
You
now
can't
you're
really explain it. Yeah.
yeah, because now you're fat shaming. Or for somebody who's just like, and it's funny too, because the same people who will say that, oh, now you're fat shaming, will actually sit back and will fat shame somebody else, and this hypocrisy that we
Or
see.
skinny shame.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
serious. There's double standards on all that stuff too.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that too.
yeah, so it's just like I understand, like, I'm skinny, I understand that people might not want to date me because I'm skinny. That's fine, I know I'm not your type. But it's just a whole lot of hypocrisy when it comes to people be like, oh yeah, now you're fat shaming, now you're skinny shaming, and then you go right back and you do it yourself. And that's just this day and age. That's just all these generations that's moving into social media era have started
Yep.
doing.
Just,
Oh yeah, no, we're
it's
always
just the
fighting
world
the fight that's on fucking topic.
it's just the world we live in now.
Well,
That's what it is.
everybody's opinions has to be over something. It reminds me of this story. I think it's hilarious. So my current job, when I first started, there was a lady that was working there, and we were working the overnights. And I guess she had never worked nights before, or she wasn't used to it. So she'd come in, she'd complain about her sleeping schedule being messed up, and she doesn't know how we work nights, and she just can't possibly get with like the night program. She can't get on it. And so one of my coworkers over a couple of weeks had kept telling her, he goes, well, one of the easiest ways to do it, he was like a sleep aid is when you get home, he said, not a full glass, drink just a half a glass of wine. Pick your favorite wine, drink half a glass of wine. It'll start helping you out. It'll really help you. And she goes, no, I got off of work. It's freaking 6, 7 o'clock in the morning when I finally make it home. Shouldn't drink when you get home. And he's like, no, not enough to get drunk. Just a half a glass, enough to take the edge off, enough to.
Keep going, Blue.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm sorry, just a half a glass, just enough to take the edge off, enough for you to be able to get home and wind down. And she was like, I don't know about drinking. So he had been telling her this over like a couple of weeks. And he's like, I'm telling you, when you get home, just half a glass of wine, take the edge off, ease your mind. You'll be able to sleep better. You'll start sleeping better. So he kept telling her. So finally one day she goes, you know what? I think I'm gonna finally go ahead and listen to you. I'm gonna do what you said. You've talked me into it. She goes, so what do you drink when you get home? He goes, oh God, no, I don't drink when I get off of work. And why would you ask me something like that? But it's like people want what they want for you, even if they don't do it themselves. But just because they simply see your life, and like I said, we talked about this with the family thing. I don't know why everybody's so intrusive over everybody else's life. I see where I want you to go. I see the potential that you have. So I want you to do a particular thing. No matter what your preference is on what you choose to do, what you found works for you, this is how I see it. And this is what I feel like that you should do. So this is what you need to do. And that's what a lot of this stuff boils down to.
Yeah, I felt that. And I feel like just dating in general, this day and age, right? It's very hard, especially trying to find somebody who, and there's people out there, but trying to find somebody who doesn't fall into those categories. And and it's hard too, especially when you have your own types. Like, everybody has their own type. No matter what somebody says, like, oh, I don't have no type. You have your own type. But it's just funny to me how every time I sit back and think about it, like just earlier today, I was thinking about it. I was just like, in a relationship, people have their types, and there are people who will try to date out their types, and just to see how it goes. And then you notice that, there's a reason why you have a type. there's a reason why you feel like you can't date somebody because they're a certain type of way. You run into that because then you see what you like to do in life, what your goals are. And, you know, there's like probably a small few of people that's outside your type that you might, you know, get along with, or, you know, you might have a good relationship with. But there's a reason why you have a type, and there's a reason why is because that's what attracts you, and that's what keeps you attracted to a person is, you know, obviously the inside, but also, you know, no matter what nobody says, they can't. I can't really stand hearing people say, well, you know, it's always about the inside. It's not true. Like, it's not. It's not the way humans work. We like to, like, people like to be able to wake up in the morning and look at their significant other in the face and be like, oh yeah, my baby is fine as hell, you know,
And not cringe, yeah.
yeah, not cringe when saying it.
I'm sorry, that's fucked up.
I mean, it is fucked up, but that is how society is. No matter what nobody says, like they
No,
could,
I get you.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they could always say, well, it's not about the outside, it's about the inside. Yeah, it's true, it is about the inside, because somebody could be very beautiful, could be a bitch, you know, or it could,
Yeah.
or it could be a gold digger, or it could be a fucking asshole, a dick, or whatever you want to call them. They could be those things, but you know, you still gotta have attraction towards them on the outside. If you have no attraction towards the person on the outside, then you're not gonna feel happy, because you're gonna feel like you don't feel forced in the relationship, because there's only a certain amount of time you could stay with a person for just their personality before you're starting to feel cringe or feel like I can't just keep saying this person is beautiful when you know you're lying to yourself.
Well, again, and it's you're following societal's rules on what makes somebody a beautiful person, on what makes somebody a good person. Like you said, you know, somebody can be together for years, and I absolutely hate your fucking guts. I hate the moment that you wake up in the morning. I hate everything that comes out of your mouth. I hate when you speak. I hate everything you say. I hate everything you stand for. I hate you, but God, you're beautiful. I mean, since you are the one of the most beautiful women or societally accepted beautiful women that I've ever seen, since you have a really nice job, I'm just supposed to accept you, and people want me to make it work because of the way that we look. Because when we step out and we're good, we are phenomenal. We look good together on the outside, we dress together, we compliment each other. It looks good, but on the inside, you're hurting. I hate this person. I don't want to be around this person. A lot of people don't realize that when we get home, we sleep in separate rooms. We sleep in separate beds. We barely talk to each other when we're at home. I know she's stepping out on me because I'm doing the exact same thing, but in society's eyes, we're together and we're some power super couple. And I hate this person, but we're only together because this is what's accepted, or this is what everybody else wants for me or wants for us, and we're not happy with each other.
Like Kim and Kanye.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like Will and Jada.
Yeah, like Will and Jada. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah.
We're going like fucking celebrities. Hey, but I don't want to go into fucking celebrity gossip. But Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian, like, that's an example of them not caring about looks anymore.
Yeah. But you know, and I'm not saying this to everybody. You know, there's some people who will be able to take it. I'm more of was just kind of playing devil's advocate to the people that always said that, you know, it's not about the looks, where it is kind of about the looks. I'm saying, you know, there's a balance to it. But I don't like when I hear people say it's just about what's on the inside, because then it's just like you're lying to yourself. Because if it's just about what's on the inside, you wouldn't actually have a type when it comes to outside appearances. Like, you wouldn't care if they were short, fat, ugly.
Like,
you know what I mean?
can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I'm 51 for looks and 49 for personality. Does that
Wait,
make
out
me a
of
bad
what?
person?
100?
Yeah.
For personality, you're more of like a you're more of like
What?
a
51 for looks and 49 for personality. How's
Where'd
that
you get
bad?
these? Where'd
Where'd
you get
these-
this? Like, yeah, where'd these statistics?
I
Really?
split Instead of going 50-50, I went 51 for looks and 49 for personality.
Oh, is this a pie chart? Like I was just thinking like
No, it's out of 100. Out of 100. I go for
gotcha.
looks for
Okay.
Okay, you have
51.
more of the looks
I
than
go
the
yes, I
personality.
go more for the look, 51, and less for the personality.
I thought you were giving
So
yourself an F.
no, I was just saying
1%.
like out of 100, 50 I go
Yeah, I
51 for
gotcha.
looks and 49 for personality. That's just me. And is that a bad thing that I like
No, it's not a bad
looks
thing at
more?
all. It's,
But some people think that it's a bad thing. That's what you guys were talking about.
yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people, first of all, everything is opinionated, and that's just the society we live in. But there's nothing wrong with, and that's still a balance in a sense. It's just just a little one takes over just a little bit more than the other, but you still
Yeah.
have a balance to it.
Exactly.
It's not like you're saying it's an 80-20 split where 80% looks or 80% on the inside and then 20% on the outside. Then I'll be like, why you're lying, type of deal.
Yeah.
You're like, I want
Yeah.
them to look a little bit better than they act.
Yeah, basically.
I don't want them to be pretty darn cute, but like they can be a little bit of an asshole.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing too, like with personalities and stuff. And nobody's perfect when it comes to personalities. Everybody has their asshole moments. Everybody has their like bad moments. So that's why you go more of a 50-50 and not just what's on the inside. Because if you're just going strictly what's on the inside, for example, what if they like are having a bad day? When people have bad days, they do dumb shit, or do like shit that doesn't really portray how they actually are. And you're only focused on what's on the inside all the time. And not really on the inside. You're more just always focused on like in the moment type of things, because most people that focus on what's on the inside focus on what they do at that moment. And a lot of people are hurting so bad that you're so focused on what's in the moment and not like what has happened to lead up to that moment, where it's just like, fuck, that doesn't portray them good. So like I kind of more of lean, and I know I'm kind of going on a tangent with this. I'm kind of more of leaning on, especially when it comes to just thinking of an overall person. I think of, on the inside, what's led up to them acting like this way. And then on the outside, like, do they take care of themselves? Are they, I'm talking about the people who can control their weight, the people who don't go through, who don't have diseases, depressions and stuff like that. The people who have full control over everything. Are they taking care of themselves? Are they trying to improve? Because I'm not gonna lie, if we don't see that, especially like going on to that 51-49 thing, if I don't see that you're at least trying to make an effort in improving, I don't want that.
Oh yeah, that's the hardcore 100% me. Like if you don't show me effort, I'm out. And that's exactly what it was with that online dating thing. I didn't see any more effort towards the end.
Yeah,
So
but
I just
Yeah.
said, screw it. I'm done.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off, Polly, but like, I don't mean like in the relationship. I mean more of with themselves.
Well, that's what, like themselves showing the effort, like
No.
having it in them.
No, having like showing the
No, like if
effort.
they actually like put themselves together
Yeah.
well, or like
Oh,
like
okay, I see
you
what you're
can
saying.
kind of tell
Yeah.
when
Okay.
somebody's like,
Letting themselves go.
yeah.
I understood it the wrong way.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah, it's okay. Polly, man, what were you about to say though?
I was just gonna say, like, if, like, going back to one person showing more effort than the other, like, before in a relationship, if it was like both of you were showing effort, everything was handy dandy, like everything was good, but then noticing later on, like, one person is showing more than the other, and you're just like, what's going on here? It's just kind of going back to what Blue was saying. It's like out in the public, everyone thinks you're a power couple, super couple, but inside is just hurt, like something's wrong. So it's like figuring that out to see what is wrong and just like communicating with each other, like what's going on to fix that. So everything is like level headed in a sense, It's just,
Yeah, I know
that's
what you
what it
mean.
is basically.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be only one person putting all the effort in. It should be both parties, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I just want to make a comment based off of what Polyman said. And I'm talking to all the kings and queens out here, especially the ones that are dating. You know, when you're dating, don't look at, you see a lot of stuff on social media where it's just like, oh, these people are goals or these are power couples. And just like Blue and Polyman said, you never know what happens behind the scenes. You never know what somebody's going through in a relationship. You will see these people in public, they seem like the best couple in the world until you actually go and look behind the scenes and you see that they're sleeping in different rooms or they're not actually happy with each other. So, my message to all the kings and queens out there is, don't compare your relationship to other people's relationship. Don't compare what you see on the internet to other people, to your own, because that's where you're going to end up having a detriment in your relationship, where you're going to be unhappy with yourself because you're looking at these unrealistic relationships that, have so many problems. No relationship is perfect. For example, Mellow and Polyman probably argue a decent amount. They don't have to show that to public. That's their private life. But, their relationship is not perfect. Just like my past relationships weren't perfect, where social media might show it that we're the perfect couple, but you never know what's behind the scenes. So don't ever take it as, a relationship is perfect,
Yeah.
I think in general. Sorry, go ahead, Blue.
Let's say, dare we venture off into a completely another topic and discuss the fact that the reason why a lot of these relationships don't end up working or don't go the way that people plan is because now, kind of like how we were talking about last time again, because of social media and because of the presence, again, of social media and all that. Everybody wants what everybody else has. A lot of relationships are not private anymore. And I feel like that's the problem. Instead of addressing things privately between me and you, or keeping a relationship between me and you, let's include Facebook. Let's include Instagram. Let's include
Oh, big
Twitter.
pet peeve.
Yeah, let everybody else in so they can all throw in their opinions. Let's let the last 3 4 years single cousin of ours or yours, dictate what I'm not doing right or what I'm not, what I'm doing that's wrong or whatever. I wonder why you've been sitting over there single this whole entire time. It's none of your business. And instead of trying to find what works for us and fix our relationship, we take everything to social media. And again, not even trying to fix our problems and let social media fix our problems. Everybody says, "Oh, you know what I seen the other day? Look at what you know whoever did for whoever. Look at what this celebrity did for their celebrity girlfriend. How come I never get that? Look at such and such and such and such are out on vacation. How come we're not on vacation?" Everybody compares their relationship. They want that golden relationship, and then not only do they want it, they want people to see it. How come we aren't taking pictures while we're out on vacations? How come we aren't posting and have all these? Such and such just brought his girlfriend a car, and he posted it online. Where's my car? I mean, it's stuff like that. I feel like that's affecting and ruining a lot of relationships too. Is everybody wants what everybody else has, and again, it's a societal thing. The more that you showboat, the more that you show off, supposedly the better that your relationship is.
That
Obviously.
aspect of social media is fucking cancer.
It's literally, it's part of my French. It's literally AIDS when it comes down to it. What I mean by that, it's like they show you all this stuff, and like when you go to Albertsons or you go to a supermarket and you're about to check out, you see those magazines. Oh, look what Ryan Reynolds did for what's her face. It's like they're pushing it for you to see what a boyfriend and girlfriend, a husband and wife should look like. You know what I mean?
Bad example. They have the
they've
most beautiful
programmed us.
relationship.
Yeah. But
It's
behind
like
the
programming.
scenes, behind the scenes, it's completely different. It's like in your relationship, what you have, you should build with what you have, not expect what you're gonna get from a magazine. Literally.
Not even a magazine. I think that's kind of like stretching though, like celebrity relationships and stuff. I think it's more like my friend from high school and her husband have this now or some shit like that. Like it's more like online influencers and like distant friends and stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'll tell them? Yeah, so I have a big dick. Literally, that's it.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. What the fuck? No, I wasn't like I talk about my toxic relationship sometimes on social media. Oh, we were having like fucking adventures and travel and happy looking kids and
Who
happy
fucking
looking
cares?
lives.
Honestly,
Right.
though, who cares?
Right, and like behind
It's
closed
stupid.
doors, it's not. Yeah, but like what Blue was going on about, like that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves is when I see somebody like vent on fucking Facebook about a fight they had with their like partner or whatever. I'm just like, oh my god. First of all, this is one sided. I am not just gonna take your side based on the story you just typed out in an angry fit. But like, yeah, when I watch people fucking respond to that, oh no, he didn't. I can't believe him. You're so much better than that. Blah blah blah. It's like, don't take
Everything
that
is
serious.
out in the open now because of social media.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, everything's actually out. And that's the thing. That's, social media brought a whole bunch of good things in life, but it also brought a whole bunch of bad things when it comes to that. Like, when you really sit back and think about it, you see that, and it happens everywhere. Like, you go on Twitter, you just start scrolling, you'll see everybody's posting about, oh, my man cheated on me. Or,
Yeah, that should be private.
Yeah, or like
call your mom.
Yeah, or like just
Like hell.
she broke, or like she broke my PlayStation, or or like she keyed up my car, or he did this, or she did that. Like, that's stuff that's private. Why are you letting people in on your relationship? Why are you, like, I understand, like, you like people who show off their relationship, but why let people in on the bad that's going in your relationship? Like, why let people know that this person is doing this? That's none of their business. You're letting people hear, and then when, especially when you stay together, then you're going to put a bad image on your significant other, like that. That's
especially if it's not like a normal common thing. Like, if it was just a bad fight or some shit, you guys got over it, you moved on. Well, social media probably hasn't moved on. Now they're looking at your fucking relationship different. Yeah, ugh, that's the worst.
Yeah, so my whole thing is just like, you can't do that. Like, that's so wrong to take a relationship and do that shit, because then it's going to end up being a case where now that you made your relationship public, then now you're going to be bashed, or the relationship is going to be bashed because of it,
And why are you still with him?
You should at least have that one friend that you trust fully, that you can communicate, like, to vent out, like, at least that one person, like a trustworthy friend, basically,
What's your mom? I suppose. Call your mom.
Yeah, it really is like that.
What's mama gonna do? Like, she'll give you advice, but it's like, I'd rather go to my dad than my mom.
Okay, whatever, your parents, but still.
Because your dad has been there, like, he's dated, like, from the guy's point of view.
And then from the girl's point.
Part of that too, and we're kind of joking about that, Mello kind of brought it up, is when you're discussing your relationship with your family or with your friends, for the love of God, tell people when things are going good as when things are going bad. Your family is hating somebody because you only talk about when things are going bad.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Relationships, because now they completely hate this person because the last few things that they've heard from you is, oh, they've done this, they've done that, and everything is so awful. And now when your family comes around, they completely hate this person, and now you're in complete defense of them. But it was your fault because you've only told them all the negative things that have happened. And again, all they know is what you've told them. So you can't even be upset with them. Like, why are you so critical on this person, or why do you not like them? Well, hell, the last 12 conversations we've had has just been you complaining about this person, and so now I hate them. I mean, it's not on me, it's on you. You've given this negative, bad outlook on somebody, and now you don't understand why your family and all your friends hate this person.
Dude, it's so bad being on the other side of that too. Like I was bad mouth. That the only thing that my ex would talk to his parents and family about. And then like I'd go over there and like find out that his dad thinks I'm some whore or something. And I'm like, dude, yeah, of course your family fucking thinks that. You made it seem like I am.
Yeah, and you know that first of all, that's hella wrong to actually go through that. Anytime I think about it, but like, no, and that's another reason why when people be like, oh, why don't you post like your significant other or anything? I'm just like, because that's nobody's business. Nobody's business of what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through in my relationship. I like to deal with all that privately. Like obviously, like you guys know, I've talked to you guys about things in my relationship, but you know, at the end of the day, I keep that stuff private between myself and other people. Like I don't let them in on all the stuff that's been going down with me, or let social media with people I don't even know knowing about what the fuck is going on with me in my relationship, or the fact that or the fact that me and my girl have problems. So, you know, and so I don't really understand why people do that. You know what I mean?
It's the evolution of dating.
It
It's
is
like
evolution
practically
thing.
part of being in a relationship now. Other people are gonna fucking know about it.
Yeah.
That's why I think like a lot of celebrity couples keep their relationships private. That's why
As
I
much
feel
as
like
they can.
family members move out and they move to another state or whatever, and you haven't talked to your brother, your sister, your uncle, or your aunt, whoever, you talk to them very limited. And then after 2 years, they come home for Thanksgiving. They're like, oh, hey, this is my wife. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's like, I like to keep my stuff private. I know you guys wouldn't approve of this person, or to be completely honest, which it's completely up to, I didn't want you guys' input on my relationship. This is my wife. Here she is. Here's your opportunity to meet her. Sorry, I didn't tell you about every little detail about when we got married or whatever, but to be honest, it's nobody's business.
Yeah, and I understand what you mean. Like, I don't know. It's been, for me personally, it's been kind of weird when it comes to telling my family about, you know, me talking to somebody or me dating somebody. And, but, you know, at the end of the day, going back to kind of what we've been talking about today, and we talked about previously in our other podcasts, literally, you know, our family wants us to date certain type of people. So if I ever like my mom, well, my family love them to death, but they don't want me to date a white woman, just being honest. And so like, personally, if I was to ever actually decide to date a white woman, not that I will, it's not my, I've tried, not my type, I wouldn't tell them until the last minute. It's kind of going with Blue thing, because, you know, it's my life and I decide what I want to do with it. But, you know, I try to keep it private so that what I'm dealing with, you know, I'm only going to let you know what you need to know. It's kind of like a need to know type of thing. So, you know.
Well, it's on the same hand, just like you know, a lot of times, I guess everything is white and black right now. A lot of things are white and black. There's so many other races and ethnicities and stuff out there, but a lot of stuff, especially in America, is white and black. So just on the same hand, just to show people it's not necessarily a white and a black thing, my preference is I envision myself getting married to a Latino girl. That's what I want. I want a Latino girl. And it's the same thing with my mom. The same way, like you said about your mom, and I'm sure even my family about white girls, but it's not even just about white girls. I've told my mom, like, I wanted to date a Latino girl, and it's almost like, how dare you? How dare you want to date outside of your race? Or, you know, I want you to be with the black girl. And I'm like, I get it. I understand what you want, but I personally see myself with a Latino girl. Well, why would you do that? Why would you want to date a Latino girl? She's not in our race. And I'm like, well, actually, I'm part Latino. You know, my dad's mom, her dad was Latino, so it's part of my culture or whatever. And she's like, no, your dad's black, I'm black. You know, as far as we're concerned, so you need to date a black girl. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I can't live up to your standard. I'm sorry I'm not going to do exactly what you want me to do. I'm sorry I'm not the picture of how you thought my life was going to turn out when you birthed me. But this is what I like. This is my preference. This is what I want. I'm not saying that it may not end up with, like you said, with a black girl, with a white girl, with a Asian girl, with a whatever. But this is my preference, and I should be allowed to seek out my preference on what I like, what will make me happy.
There was a reason why I had never met an ex's mom, was because I was not black. Like, that's the crazy thing, is like, we got pretty deep into a relationship, and you know, like the kind of point in your relationship where you should probably meet your significant other's parents. But she refused to meet me. She said, and I quote, "No, you need to meet yourself one of them black girls." Like, while on the phone, on speakerphone. Like, I get to just hear her point blank say, like, no, I'm not meeting her. And that was like huge strain, but like, it's crazy how some families are just like, I don't even want to meet them.
Yeah, it is crazy how that goes. But I kind of want to move into like the people that are single, and just what they're dealing with, especially when it comes to dating too. So, you know, for the single people, when it comes to looking for people, or just like dealing with, one thing I learned, and you know, I'm still struggling with it here and there, but what I've learned is, you know, you always hear like a lot of single people be like, I need a girlfriend, or I need a boyfriend, you know. And my friends have heard me say that before when I was drinking one day. And my whole thing is, you don't really need anybody. Like, there's not a person that you really need in life. You know, once you get a certain age, you should be able to stay independent and be on your own, really. So my only thing is, what are you guys' opinions on people who say that they need somebody in their life?
It kind of goes back to not just needing somebody. I always think that it's hilarious when you see those posts, and you're more so talking about a significant other, and of course, right now the topic is relationships, but it's all relationships actually, and maybe it's just me, and you know, I might get hate from it, but I always think it's funny the post that you see about, and a lot of times it's women, sometimes it's men, but a lot of times it's women. A lot of these single moms out here, to where they'll have a baby and they're not necessarily with the child's father, and it's always, it's me and my baby against the world, and I finally have somebody that loves me for me, and I don't know where my life will be. I will be dead at this point, or you know, I just wouldn't, you know, I couldn't continue to live. You're the only reason why I live now, and you're the only reason why I'm here, and I'm like, that's such bullshit. Like you said, learn to love yourself. I mean, and don't get me wrong, you know, there's a certain amount of love that comes with that, with having a child now and all of that. But, you know, like you said, learn to be by yourself. You've made it this far. I mean, you've been here this long. I'm not going to say that the road is easy, but who's has been? Who has had a completely bump-free road to where, I mean, they just lived their best life every step of the way, and they've never had a hardship or anything ever, you know, that's come as a boundary in their life. But now all of a sudden they have this one person. Now they have this boyfriend, or now he has this girlfriend, or now she has this child now, and you're the reason why I wake up every day. If it wasn't for you, I'd have been dead a long time ago, or I would, you know, be dead. There's no more reason for me to live and all of that. I'm like, you have to learn to be happy with you. with just being yourself. And I feel like that's a lot of the problems too, kind of touching back on to what exactly you said. You have to make sure that you're okay with you before you can bring your baggage over to somebody else. Make sure that your stuff is halfway in order. You can't bring all your problems over to somebody else and just think, well, it's on them now. We're a couple now. We're a unit, and now I'm gonna dump all my load and all my problems off on them, and it's now on them to deal with it. They have to figure out what I have going on or whatever. Be okay with you.
Gotta
Be
love
okay
yourself
with
before you can
exactly.
expect someone to love you. Yeah.
And it literally goes back to like saying you need somebody in your life. You don't need anybody in your life. You want that person to be part of your life because you feel that person fulfills that circle that you're looking for. You know, it's literally want over need in this situation. If you needed somebody, shit, you could go somewhere and find it real quick.
A therapist.
But if you wanted somebody, you want like somebody in your life, you want that person to stay because this person is your X to your Y. Like literally that's it. And it comes down to
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think it's more of the lines of being alone or feeling alone. When people say they need someone, that's what I get from that. Because I do like one of my best friend in real life. He broke up with his girlfriend recently, and he's like, "I need a girlfriend, dude. I need a girlfriend. I can't be without one. This, that." I'm like, dude, you don't need a girlfriend. You're just afraid of being alone. Like, you want to have a girlfriend because you're afraid to be alone. I feel like that's what it is. I feel like most people are afraid to be alone, or
Most of the time, yeah.
yeah, I feel like they don't want to be alone, so they jump into another one right away, you know?
That's kind of back to like you can't expect someone to love you unless you love yourself. Like if you can't be alone, that could be a problem. That could pose a huge problem in a relationship. Like Blue was saying, like you can't expect to pack your baggage on somebody else. Like I know that's not like the worst of baggage, but I mean it is baggage nonetheless, not being able to be happy alone.
Yeah, like for example, I was with my ex-girlfriend for almost 7 years. We broke up, and I've been single. This is the longest I've ever been single, and it's mind-blowing that I'm this long single. But for 6 years, I've been single, and I'm okay with it. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's not a big deal to me. Like, my time will come when I meet someone and we hit it off. I'm not rushing into shit. It doesn't really bother me, but most people in my case would lose their mind and be like, I need a girlfriend right now, I need a girlfriend right now, or I need a boyfriend right now. I think it's the sense of being alone
I think it's
that
the
they
need
can't
for
handle.
support more than the need for a
I
relationship.
think, yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a support thing as well.
yeah, because look, in my situation, I'll give you guys an example. I was alone from end of 2014 till basically last year. Yeah, basically last year. No, beginning of this year. And like I was perfectly fine with being single because I learned my lesson throughout my years that the more you search for a relationship, the more you're gonna end up with someone that's bad for you. The less you're carefree and let the good times roll is when you're gonna find the right person for you. So like Mello said, like Blue said, you gotta learn to love yourself before you love somebody else. That's a cold hard fact. Because if you can't love yourself and you can't grow throughout your alone time, how are you gonna expect somebody to love you for who you are? Like if they can't deal with the fact that you're an amazing person and there's a couple different flaws that still are there, but you're working on it, then in that case, that person's gonna be blind to seeing how good of a person you are versus little flaws that are very easy to fix. It's like you just have to keep growing throughout your years. And if that person really wants you in your life, see, want over need, um, they're gonna stick by your side and freaking grind it out because they know who you are and you know who they are and you know that together you can conquer anything. So that's what it literally comes down to. It's like growing together throughout the years. But the more you search, remember, more you search for anybody that's like, you say throughout the years you want to look for somebody like, oh, I need a girlfriend, I need a girlfriend. Oh, you're gonna find a bad and bougie type of chick that's gonna fucking wreck your world. So you just gotta let it slide. Like, let it
You're
roll.
gonna end up settling, or I take it.
Settling, no. Settling, no, because settling is one of those words where it just a negative type of word, I want to call it.
No, you just said that. You said that you would, if you're like looking and you're just desperately trying to find somebody just not to be lonely with, then yeah, I think you would end up settling.
No, because if you settle, if you look for somebody that's after your whole thing, when it comes down to searching for somebody, and if you like somebody comes into your life and blows your mind away, and it's not a settling situation, it's more of, okay, this person and I click together, so we're gonna see how it goes, and if it works, that's perfectly fine. But if you settle with somebody that's amazing and there's still flaws, it doesn't make sense. You can't settle. Settling is like a weird word to use sometimes.
Yeah, and so yeah, if you guys know me pretty well, but like I like to study like the psychology of a person, right? It's something that interests me. And so I was looking into it, and one of the biggest things about about people is people's biggest fears, no matter if they'll admit it or not, is being alone. People's biggest fears, and I'm just repeat it again. Somebody's biggest fears is being alone. And so we always attach ourselves to people. We always attach ourselves to things. So when you really look and think about it, it's just like, why do you do that? And like you could look at it and you just be like, I don't want to do that, but then it always comes back at you, and it's just like, yeah, I'm depressed again, or yeah, and so I want to attach myself to a person, or so I understand when, and that's another reason why I did the same thing, where it was just like, yeah, I need somebody. So I understand when people say that, but it's not right to say, because, and especially when you start focusing on yourself, somebody will come to you. So, and you'll start noticing you don't need anybody, because you're able to do everything on your own. You're able to do so much things on your own. And when you're with somebody else, and I think this is what people want, like they want it immediately, because when you are with somebody else, you're able to do even more. And I think people are dissatisfied with themselves to the point where they can't do that. They can only do a certain amount of things when they always want to do more, where you got to sometimes settle for the things that you're able to do. You got to, because in that case, that means you're not happy with yourself. And so, I kind of looked up that stuff, and then that was one thing I wanted to say on that part. And then another thing, kind of moving on with the topic, when I was looking at this video, and I was talking about how the psychology of a man. And one thing I learned is, and this is speaking to all the men out here, men will always, like, when they fall in love, when they truly fall in love with a woman, they can only love that woman a certain type of way. They can only love one person a certain type of way. So, with, and it's fucked up, but that is the psychology of a man, where we can only love one person that certain type of way. Not saying that we won't love the next person if we get in a different relationship. It's just we can only love in one certain type of way, and that's just how we're, I want to say, programming in a sense. That's just how we are, and it sucks, but it's the truth. And what, especially speaking to the men, and Mello, you could chime in too. what do y'all feel about that? Like, how do y'all feel that this is how we are as men? Or how do you feel about that, Mello? Like, hearing that this is how a man is, where, and you know, obviously we can't control that, but like, where we can only love one way, one person one way.
I mean, it kind of, have you ever looked into like everybody has their different type of love language?
Yeah, yeah.
So like, I think I wouldn't say, because you're not saying all men love this way, right? You're just saying that all men, like, that men tend to, do you mean like love each girl differently, or?
Yeah, so you could never love one girl the same way that you loved a different girl.
Right.
We will always love that, like the next person or girl or guy. Like for a guy, like just in case like you're gay, for example, girl or guy, you will always, but you could never love your significant other the same way as your previous. That's
I feel like that kind of goes for women too, though. I mean, I don't know if maybe you.
So actually, I did.
It's kind of been.
Yeah, I actually did look up that statistic. It's easier for women to.
So.
No, what were you about to say, Blue?
No, so I feel like that statement is true, but it's not anything against anybody. So one of the sayings that I've heard that I absolutely love, one of my favorite sayings is, we like each other for our qualities, but we love each other for our imperfections. No two people are the same. And part of dating coming up is figuring out not only what you do, but what you don't like. You're going to find people that you start off liking a particular thing because of kind of like what we said, you like the way that they look and you like the job that they have or something like that. And then when you really get to the nitty gritty and figure out who that person is, you find out there's a couple of other things about them that you don't like, that you will look for in that next person. And eventually you make it around the block enough times to where you're never going to find somebody that's perfect, but you will hopefully eventually find that person that fits enough of the qualities that you're looking for, that you like, to where you want to give them your all, and you hopefully you find somebody that you want to be with for the rest of your life because you found that person. But the only way to be able to do that is to go through all these people and find out things that you do and you don't like. That doesn't necessarily mean that you love any particular person any less than you love somebody else. A lot of relationships end up being broken up over, we didn't get into an argument. Nothing bad happened. We never argued. It was nothing bad. It was just a mutual agreement that we found out that this wasn't gonna go all the way like we initially thought it was. But that doesn't mean that you don't love them. My youngest brother and sister, have the same mom and dad, and my dad separated from her well before my brother and sister's late mom. So when she passed, my dad bawled his eyes out. And they weren't together. They had not been together. They really didn't even have very much of a talking relationship, but you still love that person. And that doesn't mean that you don't love the next person. That I feel like every relationship that you attempt to be in, try to give it your all. You should go into a relationship thinking this might be that person. And some people you love a little bit more, some people you love a little bit less. But again, every loss that you experience, again, like I said before, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. I'm learning from you. Everybody you come across in your life, you learn something new from that person. And that's how we constantly evolve. That's how relationships evolve, and that's how we evolve as people. Is I'm learning. Not only are you learning what you do and you don't like about them, you're learning yourself. You're actually learning yourself as a person on kind of what makes you feel good. And again, with love, people have to realize it's what makes you feel good. Do what's quirky. Do what people say is untraditional. Do some of the things that you feel like is taboo. That's the most love that you see from people, is the weirdos. It's the weird people that run around in the middle of the street and they're singing to each other and they don't care what anybody else thinks or who's looking at them. You know, it's those people that do all those quirky and those weird things together because they're so carefree in their relationships that they love each other so much they don't care what anybody else thinks or what anybody else says. And again, you know, you can't say that you love one person or you're not gonna love somebody else just as much or better than you loved another person, because every relationship is a growing experience for you. And walk into every relationship expecting this might be the one I'm gonna love wholeheartedly until they show me that I just can't do that, that you're just simply not the person for me. But I'm gonna come in there and that's my intention. I'm gonna come in there and give you every little ounce of love the Big Blue has, baby. I'm here.
Yeah, and kind of to what I was about to say, to go off what Mello was asking, it's not the fact that women don't deal with the same things. It's just the fact when you really think about it and really think about how it is. So another thing that I found out when looking at the psychology of a man is like we're kind of routed to, and women, so we're kind of routed to be like the hunters in a sense, like always hunting for the relationship, while women are more of supposed to be, the people who are supposed to like pick like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Like we're supposed to actually like be the hunters and hunting for it, while women are supposed to be the people to, you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're sitting there doing the primal dance.
Yeah.
The girls are sitting there lined up, and we're doing the stupid, idiotic dance, hoping that one of them will go, "Hey, that's cute."
Yeah. So then, when you really think about it, the reason why it is said that you could that a man can never love a woman any same way is because, and I'm not saying amount. Like when I say same way, I mean, like you can never, it's not about the amount basically, because there's so many different ways you can love somebody. But for a man, there's always going to be something that you will like more than what the other person gave, or there's always going to be this thing about this person that you fell in love with that that you could never love the other person the same way.
And the crazy thing about that is, with us guys, we can tell with women what they're going through. It's when it comes down to emotional change. Like if in the beginning of the relationship everything is handy dandy, really fun, like the heart-shaped googly-eyed glasses are on, and once it's off, you see there's still love, but then like there's times where the guy can tell if the girl's kind of like letting go of the gas pedal, like pulling back, like, and it's just, that's us guys. A lot of girls say, oh, men don't know how to speak Venetian, like just like how women can't speak Mars language. You know how guys are from Mars, women are from Venus, kind of thing. But we can just tell instinctively, like, how a woman is feeling, and if something's bothering them, or if something's like they're pulling back on an emotion or anything like that. It's weird.
But I think that's kind of going off topic of what reality is saying, right? Like you're kind of going for men are gonna love each woman differently, right?
Yeah, I see but I understand what he's talking about at the same time. But yeah, it's kind of the same things with it, and they kind of go in tangent where what he's saying and what I'm saying are basically the same things. It's just I didn't go into specifics. He more went into specifics about it.
So I mean, again, with kind of like I said, yes, you can never love somebody different the same way that you love someone else. But again, it's because everybody has their own qualities that they bring to the table. No person is going to be the same. No person's going to be alike, and you're going to find something different in that person that you didn't find in the other one. So again, yes, everybody, you're going to love everybody completely differently only because they bring something brand new, fresh to the table that somebody else did not have.
Right, and that's kind of where I was going on. Like, I feel like women are the same way. That's why I was just a little confused on it. But you're just saying that it's easier for women to kind of make the transition to loving different?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think guys are a lot more primal. We're a lot more primal. It's like women want that emotional aspect. How do you make me feel? You know, what sweet talk are you gonna give me? And basically, yeah, how are you gonna make me feel? What are you gonna say nice to me when I come home from a bad day at work? And guys are kind of the same thing, but again, we're a little bit more primal. As long as we get home and each woman has something for us to eat that's at home, and not a lot of work for us to do when we get home, we're happy. We're happy about the simple things.
Wait. But kind of, yeah, we are happy about the simple things, but
Not always.
not always, not all men, but not
Not
always.
all of them.
But then that kind of brings on something that I actually want to bring up now, and this is kind of going off topic of dating, but it's just something that I really want to, push to the light, and that a lot of people don't actually know, is that yes, we are simple people and we have simple pleasures, but because people think we got simple pleasures, it hides the fact that when we're in pain, like what people don't know is that men actually have the highest suicide rate out of both of the genders.
Yeah.
They have women have a higher attempt rate, but men have a higher success rate, and we have a higher just like overarching suicidal.
It sucks for those statistics. 'Cause
Yeah.
in reality, like, it shows that women are doing it more for the attention, men are doing it for the
Yeah. And kind of what I was bringing this to is, and the reason being why I'm not trying to speak for all men, but from just what I've studied and what I know, that a lot of men are doing it because we're not generally, as like, our emotions aren't generally accepted. Like, we're supposed to be seen as these simple people who have simple emotions, who have simple pleasures, and our opinions don't matter. Or, we're supposed to hide our emotions because we're men.
I don't even feel like it's simple emotion. It's like the man. You're the alpha male. You are the punching bag. You're the women are the emotional ones and men are the physical guys. We're supposed to be more physical than we're emotional, and that's what it boils down to. You're supposed to be this dominant alpha male who is resilient by all these different things, and you're the protector. And with being that protector and that provider, don't show any emotions. If you show any emotion, you're a pussy, basically. You're not allowed to show any emotion. You're not allowed to show when you're stressed because you know, generally speaking, that shows weakness. In a sense, that's supposed to show weakness. If you show too many emotions, if you show that you're easily stressed out, if you show that you're just an overly emotional person, that shows that you are a weak male. And that's kind of used to be the perception of men. So again, it's not that we don't feel just as much as women. It's just that we're supposed to hide it because you don't want to be perceived as a weak male. You don't want to be perceived as not being an alpha male. And when you do that, it takes a toll on our mental. So a lot of times when a guy goes and commits suicide, it's almost like, oh God, we had no clue. We had no clue that he felt that way. We had absolutely no clue that, he was going through anything.
Right.
And again, it's because we're meant to hide it. We're supposed to hide it. Don't show it to anybody. That's your problem. You need to deal with that. But the problem is we don't. We try not to deal with it. We try not to show that quote unquote weakness. And a lot of times it gets the better of us because men are not supposed to show their emotions at all.
But
Just like
what's
a lot
crazy?
go ahead.
When it comes down to it's I've read a couple books, like The Art of War.
Amazing book, by the way.
Huh?
Art of War is an amazing book, by the way. I advise everybody to read it. Continue.
There's a certain tactic that I've seen and I've learned that's effective. It's when it's when you're cornered in as a male in a battle. One of the tactics used back in the day was you cry before you settle down your emotions to think of like basically calming down that storm. So for us guys that everybody says, oh, as a guy we're not supposed to show emotion, when you show emotion and then that emotion's gone and you learn and you're that pond is calm and you basically think what is fixable and what is not, you know, like having that sense of zen in your body and in your mind, that after that you can basically conquer anything. You know, it's like, so when people say like, oh, as a male you can't show emotion, you know how many TikTok videos I've seen about us men, we're supposed to be strong, but every rejection we get just hurts a little bit more, or this and this and that and da 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 da. You know, like it's fine to show emotion at the end of the day. If someone calls you a pussy, that's on them because they're probably the pussy ones that are calling you a pussy.
So
Or scared to show their emotion.
do you guys blame society for that? The fact that
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
that's why society is fucking terrible, dude. Why is society telling us what's right and what's wrong?
Yeah. Actually, see, it's funny because I look at a lot of case studies and a lot of shit. So one thing I learned was with society, if you just sit there and let them do stuff, like there's this little art experiment, we'll say, where this woman, she literally stood there and there was a bunch of things on the table, and I don't know if you heard of this, but basically she said, you could do whatever you want to me and I will not move. And at first they started off with simple stuff, right? They started off with simple stuff like writing things. And then as time went on, it got worse and worse, where they started slicing pieces of her skin off. Sometimes, and then it got to a point. Yeah, see how far they could go. And then in one case, somebody held a loaded gun up to her head and was threatening to and was almost about to kill her. And then other people ripped all her clothes off. She was sexually assaulted on multiple occasions. And then when the time was up and it was time for her to move, and she stayed completely still during the whole thing, but when it was time for her to move, they all ran away. Because society, when they are allowed to do whatever they want, they will. And they will take it to a very extreme thing until they're confronted about it. So when it comes to how society sees, men in the sense where they got to be strong, or they see women as a certain type of way, and it brings a lot of stress on both genders and on every type of identity, even if you're LGBTQ, or if you like your race, religion, everything, your culture, like society, they'll go as far as they want until it gets confronted to them, and they have to be held to their own actions. And so, society, us as people, we don't care until we're held accountable for our actions. And that's just the way humans are. And it sucks, but it is true.
Well, when it comes to
fuck society,
male emotions, right? And I know I'm the woman here, I, for one, completely condone that every human is entitled to every emotion. That's obvious. That should be obvious. It's might not be for some people, but it is for me. But I believe I have emotions. I'm a woman, I have emotions. Big whoop, right? There's a time and a place though. For me, I keep my more powerful emotions to people who I trust, or behind closed doors, I guess, right? I don't bring those bigger, more, I don't know, kind of emotionally, I'm not putting it on other people. If it's my bigger emotions, I'm gonna go to somebody I trust, right? And I think that kind of is something that we've all lost sight of as a society, like kind of keeping your bigger moments to yourself. I don't think that men should go unheard. I think that men should go to people they trust just as much as women. But when it comes to a point of like the boy who cried wolf kind of thing, like everybody's screaming their emotions at the top of their lungs so that everybody can like feel bad for them, or, you know, like put their sense into it, or like, you know, oh, you're not, you know, like when a girl posts on Facebook, you see them like, oh God, I just look horrible today. And you're like, obviously she's feeling down about herself and she's not getting that fulfilled. Like now everybody's like, girl, don't say that, you know. But I mean, it sucks that we don't have the support behind closed doors, I guess, like as much as we would hope. A lot of people are lacking in that. But it's almost hard to care about a lot of those loud and top of their lung emotions because people are doing it every day now. It's not when somebody's in a deep hole or really needing it to be heard. Like it's just like somebody's bored at home and they're like, oh, I want people to care about me today. Like, and I'm sorry if I'm sounding insensitive about it. I just think that like, if anybody knows emotions, it's me. I'm a little fucked up in the head, but like, yeah, I keep it in my tight knit circle. Like I'm not trying to make the world feel bad for me. I want to deal with my emotions, and I think that it's good to have support on that, but
I feel like another thing that guys have problems with as far as sharing their emotions, and I'm pretty sure every guy in here can attest to this, is again, it goes back to the societal thing that men are supposed to be alpha males. They're not supposed to share their emotions, and you don't want to put out there that you're basically a pussy or a crybaby to everybody. And part of that problem that we have is, you know, Mello, let's say me and you become best friends and I open up to you, I share my emotions. One of the biggest fear I believe that guys have is the people that we open up to the most. What ends up happening is when, and it just happens with a lot of women, I'm sorry, and it just does, that the girlfriend you had, the best friend that you had, yeah, now when, especially when they get pissed off at you,
Yeah, they'll brag about it.
your business is for the streets. It's for everybody. They're spreading your business all around. The
it's a feminine
things
flaw.
you told them in confidence, in complete confidence, in that shoulder that you thought that you could lean on and you can cry on now. I mean, just everybody knows. And that's another thing why men choose not to show their emotion, is because the person that I thought that I could trust the most and I could confide in, now my business is everywhere. Everybody knows about it because she was upset with me that day or whatever, and now every freaking body knows. So I feel like that's part of the thing that makes men also not want to say anything, is we have a lot of trust issues. Men have a lot of trust issues and think that there aren't people that they can go out here and talk to in confidence. I'm sure there's a lot of things that a lot of us have bottled up to where we would just love to absolutely talk to somebody. We know that if we had this true, genuine, emotion-filled conversation, that we probably would cry. We probably would tap into some of those emotions that we should be able to. But then again, we're scared. Because then again, if you tell your emotions to the wrong person, you lean on the wrong person, or even if it's the right person at the time, then when they're mad at you or they're upset with you or something happens, now they just splat your business all out everywhere. And I feel like that's a problem too, because if somebody tells you something in confidence and now you just go out and spread your bit, I feel like that contributes to a lot of it too. Not just that guys are bottling their emotions up into the point to where it explodes and they kill themselves, but it may be something like, you did tell somebody, you told somebody everything, you gave them your all, and that one day they were mad at you and now they went and spread your business everywhere, and it's something that you did not want everybody to know. You couldn't live with everybody knowing this thing, and now somebody just went back and told all your business, and it ends up in the same result.
Yeah,
But that's
I
not
100%
just
believe that.
men and like that.
Yeah, it's
that's,
women too.
Oh
It
my
goes
God,
both
that's
ways.
like Lisi said on the stream there. We definitely have that fear too. And I am one to 100% attest to my dirty laundry being passed out to anybody that's ever talked to me. Like, it was not just a vengeful, oh, let me just tell like my family and friends, or show my family and friends, if people know what I mean. My dirty laundry was hung up for the fucking world to see when somebody was upset with me. So it's not just women that go off and blow up. If anything, I wasn't the petty one in one relationship, and people have seen and heard things that they wish they have never seen and heard. And like, so I mean, it's anybody. It's a trust thing in general. There is no gender on that. Like it just, the men showing their emotion part goes towards, I believe, more of a pride thing, because I think men have a stronger sense of pride in that type of stuff than women. I think if there's anything that really like holds y'all back from expressing your emotions, I think a pride thing, like you're right, it's kind of embedded in your brain. It's a, you feel like, oh God, I've been told I'm a pussy for saying this, but
We're afraid to come out because of society telling us we're gonna
correct.
be pussies and
But if
whatnot,
you
you
just
know,
go
for acting that way.
Yeah, but if you just go for humans, like if you just look at it
Yeah,
as a
we're all
human
humans,
thing,
guaranteed.
we're all
Yeah.
human. Yeah, so like if you can't go to somebody and talk about these emotions, you are letting society win. I mean, everybody is entitled to somebody to support them. Like we as humans could not just live on a fucking deserted island island by ourselves. We would go fucking absolutely insane. Like we do need other people. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's a statistic. Everybody knows humans. It's statistically proven that humans are social creatures. Um, I had one of my guys that I work with now. He used to work in a jail and or in a prison, and I believe their cap was like 30 days. You can have the hardest, most alpha male. He went out and killed 12 people, and he showed no emotion for it. He doesn't care. He laughed in the family's face when they confronted him in court. And it's been proven, I think a lot of those guys, the max that they can send somebody to solitary confinement there was 30 days. Because after being isolated and not having any contact with any other human being for over 30 days, you will literally, and I mean literally, you will literally begin to go mad. You'll start going crazy.
Yep.
One of the biggest things dealing with COVID, again, I work at a hospital. Of course, we had the people who came in who were physically ill from COVID. But I think one of the things that a lot of people didn't look at and didn't realize as a symptom of COVID wasn't just the physical, the coughing, the headaches, the vomiting, all of that. We had a huge uptick in the amount of SI patients that we saw. And for the people that don't know, it's suicidal ideation patients that we have, people that came in that wanted to harm themselves because again, humans are social creatures, and since so many people were scared to go out and have contact with anybody else, so many people were stuck and cooped up in their houses, and a lot of people live alone and things like that, or even if they don't, they didn't want to have any contact with anybody else because I might be off of work, but you go to work every day. You're my roommate, but I don't want to be around you because I don't know who you're coming in contact with every day. We had so many people come in for SI problems because people will literally go crazy if they don't have contact with other human beings.
That's
You
true.
know what the crazy thing about what was said earlier? It's like there's a saying. There's actually a thing I learned in martial arts called Mushin. Basically, freeing your mind of pain, freeing your mind of ego, freeing your mind of basically everything and showing no emotion. At the end of the day, the person you trust the most, the person you love the most, you should show them your emotion. They should accept you for that. Um, so I live by that. When it comes down to like reality of it all is like guys are supposed to be the alpha male. I don't want to sound cocky, but I know I'm an alpha male. Um, Sometimes there's tendencies where I just basically lose sight of that. But at the end of the day, I know for a fact that I am one of those alpha males. But at the end of the day, it's like if you give someone your all and they're not showing it back to you, and for any reason something blows up, like I've had relationships in the past where my business was sent out in the public, like, and it just fucks you in the ass at the end of the day. It's like you again. It's like you live by a code, and that code is broken through someone not respecting that code. It just it just throws it all off, you know? Because if you guys literally look into that word mushin, that's the definition of me.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm actually looked that up. But yeah, and I'm gonna kind of bring this to a little bit more personal experience. So I've went through a lot of stuff in my lifetime where I've dealt with was dealt a bad hand with a lot of experiences, and just kind of personally, I honestly don't feel comfortable always talking to people about it, because when I do talk to people about it, they be like, they'll either laugh, and it's funny too. It'll be the women who who've dealt with the same thing I've dealt with, and they'll laugh at me and just be like, "Well, aren't you a man? Like, how can that happen to you, or how can you let that happen to you?" And it's just like, you know, I didn't let anything happen to me, and it just happened, against my own will. So, it's always hard to be the one to say, or just be out there and talk about your emotions, because when you do, especially what I've experienced as a man, is that people will laugh at you, or people will demean it, or throw it down, or just like it. And it's crazy because that's just how it's always been. And it's in no, but I've learned to accept that. And it's just a lot of things go down where that's why men, and there's plenty of men who've dealt with what I've dealt with or worse. So that's kind of how I could see why the suicidal rate, going back to the suicidal rate, is higher for men than women. But kind of to push on for this, and after this, we're gonna do a little break so that my people could get some water, and you guys can get hydrated, get some food in your bellies and whatnot. But
There's no water for us boys. We're stronger than that.
yeah, we're stronger than that. So but we're gonna do a little break in a little bit. But one thing I kind of want to push home real quick before we go on our break and change the topic is, when it comes to relationships and it comes to being open, or it comes to ignoring those gender roles, what do you guys feel? And obviously it's always going to be different per person, but what do you guys feel is what is your idea of how a relationship should go? And obviously it's a very opinionated, but I still kind of want to hear you guys' idea on it.
Again, me personally, there's no cookie cutter answer. What works for you doesn't work for me. There's no set, oh, well, the person needs to have this type of job. The person needs to bring in this sort of money. The person needs to look this particular way. There's no real answer to that question because, again, just like Mello said earlier, she doesn't want to date any guys who are shorter than her. And in turn, you got some extremely tall Amazonian women who date midgets. So there's no set cookie cutter answer to that. Again, it's whatever makes you happy. Love is about whatever makes you happy. No matter how quirky that might be, no matter how weird or odd it might seem to somebody else, if that makes you happy, run with it. You may completely go with it. Oh yeah, and that's you. That's what makes a relationship work. Who's two people who are connected, happy, they enjoy each other, they enjoy everything. That's an idealistic.
And touching on that, Blue, it's Yeah, there is no cookie cutter answer to it, but the main foundation of a relationship that applies to everybody, there's a couple different ones, but the main one is communication. If you can't communicate simple things to each other and finding out like what is going on with like emotional situations or like anything, like trying to help that person out in any type of way, then if the communication is broken, will that relationship last? Like that's the main thing is communication between person A and person B.
I agree, and I think it's for me it would be communication and loyalty. Loyalty is a big one too. If there's no communication, then it'll be a disaster. If one person has an issue with the other and they don't explain the problem, or like, let's say the other person doesn't even want to hear about it and then like ignores what the significant other has to say, that's already a major issue, and that relationship usually will fall apart. So communication and loyalty are number one for me, and like respect too, but those two are major for me.
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree with you, Shanto. It's like communication is key. If the person's not letting you like if you listen to them, but they're not listening to what you have to say, that's a major red flag.
Yep.
Well, communication actually sort of warps into your whole loyalty and everything. A lot of people communicate that they're completely happy with having an open relationship, but they communicated that. So, like, loyalty to you is going to be different than loyalty to somebody else. So, communication's a big one, yeah, but I think it all kind of starts with trust. I think that's actually like the bottom line, that you have to trust somebody in a relationship in all aspects, at least for me.
Okay. So yeah, I feel everybody, and I agree. Like trust and communication are like one of the two most important things, and also understanding each other. Being understanding of each other is also a huge key in a relationship. But yeah, we're gonna take a cool little 2-3 minute break. Let people get some water, get some snacks, so that they've been talking a lot, so let them get some water. So hopefully you guys can sit back and enjoy this instrumental that I'm gonna have playing for you guys. There's just gonna be some slow R&B instrumentals, so hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're about to get into the next topic. This isn't really going to be topic based. This one's going to be more of just conversational, and I would love it if chat can get in on it. And for everybody who's watching this as a VOD or on YouTube, and follow my YouTube, actually, it's Reality Tea Talks, or if you're watching this on Spotify, coming to the live stream on Twitch is twitch.tv/realitygtv. You guys can interact too, but I kind of want to turn this one more into finding out, I want to start talking about hobbies and figuring out what people enjoy, and should people be judged based off of what their hobby is, even if it's like weird or obscure as they say it. So we're gonna get into talking about that in a little bit. Let me make sure everybody's good, and I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So what we're about to be talking about is and just to let everybody else know, so I kind of want to start talking about hobbies, just because we all have our own hobbies, and I kind of want to see what everybody's hobbies are, and then I want to go into talking about, should you be judged based off of like your hobbies, or if you have like any weird hobbies, like if you're comfortable enough to share those type of things. So, again, we're here with Mellow, Blue, Polyman, and that dude Shanta. So everybody say hi real quick.
Sada.
Excited.
Carne asada.
Carne asada.
So yeah, my whole thing is, okay, so we all have the same hobby when it comes to gaming, right? And I pretty sure y'all all can agree with me. We all have the same hobby when it comes to gaming.
Yep.
So my whole question to you guys is, what is like a weird or obscure hobby that you guys feel like you guys have?
I don't think I have any really weird hobbies. I have like pretty basic bullshit. Gaming is
Yeah.
one, video editing is another, and photoshopping. I like to Photoshop as well, so they're kind of basic shit.
Yeah, I don't
Don't.
think mine. I don't think I have anything weird. Yeah, because aside from like gaming, only I guess hobby I do, like I do a lot of. I guess it's not like scrapbooking or anything, like the cell phone cases. Like I make custom made cell phone cases. I just recently started doing the card cup holder inserts. I did mouse pads and a couple of other things. So I mean, that's really more so of a hobby. But I don't have anything that's really weird that I'm doing.
I used to have a hobby pre-children that was not necessarily weird, but it's something that was like never going anywhere, I guess. It was literally just a hobby.
What
I
was it?
I liked like making weird videos. Like literally they could be TikToks these days, but it was like before TikTok. Like I have old fucking tapes from when I was a kid of like my friends and I pretending to do like American Idol in our backyard or
I
some
would feel like
shit.
skit. You did skit.
Yeah, I did skits or like dance. This is so bad. It's kind of embarrassing. I'll probably never show Polly, but do I have the footage? Absolutely, I do. I used to like do like dance skits to like random popular songs. My friends and I would do horrible dancing. Like on purpose, we would horribly dance, like just to songs. Or I used to do a lot of like video, and then I would make DVDs. I'm not kidding you. I would make DVDs to send out to each one of my friends. So each chapter on the DVD would be like different skits that we had done. So I guess video and skitting or like comedy
Yeah.
used to be a hobby of mine, but also photography.
Blue actually reminded me of something. I used to make custom Xbox 360 controllers in my late
Oh yeah,
teen
me too.
years. I actually have my website still up since then that I made when I was actually selling these controllers. It was cool and it was going on for a while. I was making some good money when I was like 19, 20 years old. But
Absolutely, me too. I think yes, I did too. I did 360 and Xbox One, and actually, if you scroll really, really deep on my Instagram, I have a whole section of all the controllers that I was doing.
yeah, I have the website still up. I don't know if you want to see that later, reality, but it's something I used to do back in the day.
Yeah, I would love to look at that, and then if you want to post it into the stream chat, you can have people look at that.
Alright.
But no, so we haven't heard Polyman tell us his yet, so
So after COVID kind of shut down on my hobbies, but like pre-COVID, one of my favorite personal hobbies, I don't know if this is weird, but every Thursday or Friday I would go karaoke. I would go to different bars and karaoke. That was one of my biggest hobbies. And believe it or not, your boy could sing. He's got golden vocals.
you got golden vocals.
Golden.
Oh no, not
Golden.
you want to say that now? You gotta sing on me. You gotta sing. I gotta put you on the
Oh,
spot.
I gotta hear it.
Nah.
Do it.
Do it. Come on,
Come
man.
on, sing Journey. Sing Journey. Come
Yeah,
on, you
come on,
got
sing
this.
it.
Just a city girl.
You got it. Come on.
Living in a lonely world.
Oh, daddy.
She took the midnight train going anywhere.
I knew I could start it out.
Yeah, there we go.
Golden.
You know, another
You
thing
got
I would one of my biggest hobbies was literally Monday through Thursday I would play soccer. I post COVID I even told Mello I'm like I gained a shit ton of weight, but before COVID, like people still look at me like even I got this at my job like, oh, you used to do sports? I couldn't tell with your belly, you know? I mean that's the reason why I fuck Home Depot and fuck HD Supply.
Fuck those people.
He talked about Home Depot.
Oh, PTSD, man.
Yeah,
That's where we began our journey, and that's where we almost burned the fucking place down. Was at Home Depot.
Yeah, so like before I started working there, I was in shape. Like everybody says round is a shape. Nah. You know, like I used to actually be in like legit shape. There's pictures of me on my not my gaming Instagram, but if you go to my Paul C. Adams Instagram, you'll see like what kind of shape I was in. I was buff stuff, you know, like, but like hobbies wise, it was I would play soccer almost every day. At one point, I was doing 3 workouts a day. Like my biggest hobbies is working out, and I even told Mello once I go back home, next time you see me, you're gonna be like, oh yeah. So, so it's game time, you know. Like I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being that guy where I try telling people like, yeah, I used to do track and field in high school. You know, I used to be fucking fast as fuck, boy. You know, like, and then they look at me and they just like literally like that. We had that talk about judging people. You know, like I used to get judged every single time about because I looked a certain way, but I did the sports. You know, like I have the credentials of what I used to look like.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess I'll go last. Well, I have a lot of hobbies. So obviously this podcast is a hobby, but I wanted it to be a little bit more than a hobby. Gaming, but then I kind of started going into collecting, where now I like to collect and at least be able to play every single game system. Like I like to be able to say I own it, at least one of every game system.
Collecting all them.
Yeah, and it starts to get expensive because you know moving from PC, getting the Xbox, getting the PS5, playing the previous gens of those, playing Nintendo Switch, all that stuff gets expensive. But that's something that I kind of got into hobby in, and like more of into. I don't really want to call it weird because there's the community that does it doesn't really count it as weird. But one thing that I kind of like collecting was little anime figurines. And you know, obviously, like to people who are in that community, they don't see it as weird, right? Because of like all, but if you like really look into it and look at all the shit you could get in there and all the crazy stuff, like when I tell you, like I wanted to get, you know, the body pillows. I wanted to get the mouse pads. You know, the mouse pads with the little, like the little wrist rest at. Yeah, for the anime ones, like they had like it'll either be some boobies or a butt. Yeah, like I was into those type, like collecting those. I was, because I'm so into Japanese culture, just not even just with, you know, anime and manga, just in general, that I started becoming a huge collector of it. Where I started getting their snacks, their foods. I started, you know, collecting their books, reading, trying to learn Japanese so I could start reading a lot of Japanese books or reading anything that was translated in Japanese.
At one point, I used to, when I was younger, like, yeah, I was a jock in high school, but all my homies were like literally anime nerds, you know, like I used to hang out with them. So like at one point I was collecting like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was collecting, when I was young, I used to collect Pogs. If you guys, I know certain
Yeah,
few know
Pogs.
Pogs.
So I feel like every good hobby, honestly, is what started a millionaire or a billionaire. It started from somewhere that they loved. It started from a hobby, something they liked to collect or something that they like to do. I feel like every great business started as a hobby. You know, the person that made the first computer, it was a hobby, sitting around putting these and tinkering and putting these pieces together. And next thing you know, I'm making it, I'm selling computers, I'm a millionaire. Or, you know, anything that you decide to collect. And, you know, kind of like you said with the it used to also be a hobby of mine to do game controllers. And I'm like, well, this is cool. And a bunch of people was like, God damn, look at your controller when I come to your house. I want one. Okay, well, fine, I'll make you one. And it started selling them. But one of the driving things, actually, I would love to drive our topic, is a lot of people end up becoming successful off of their hobbies. They start businesses, or that kind of drives their day-to-day life on, you know, my job sucks, I don't want to do it, this is my hobby, I want to pursue getting into this, and they actually started as a business or move into that field. But when does a hobby become an addiction? When is it enough to call quits? Like, okay, this was a hobby, I wanted to try to do it. I mean, because I'm sure we've all seen it. You know, people, there's, on the same coin, there's somebody who loves to go to the casino. That's their hobby. They hit big, so everybody praises them. Now all of a sudden you're a casino guru. I want to get all these tips, tricks, and advice from you. And then you got the other person on the same hand who likes to go just as much, go to the casino every other week, and they spend and blow their entire paycheck. So it's kind of difficult, but I think that's a really interesting. When does your hobby, you have to realize that now your hobby has become an addiction?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Wait, so is crack a hobby?
No, bro.
I mean, if I want to do it
No.
recreationally, you know, I just do it when it's party time. I like to loosen up a little bit.
No, so
Don't do drugs.
yeah, don't do drugs.
Drug
Please
addictions
don't.
are not a joking matter.
But no, so we'll talk about this. So let's bring up gaming, right? Great, gaming is it is an addiction for a lot of people, and you know it becomes an addiction wherein, you know, it leads your life. Like kind of what you were asking, like think a hobby becomes an addiction when it leads your everyday life. Not saying like, you know, not saying like with streamers when they make it a job, but when you literally make this, you eat, sleep, walk, everything of your whole being is that hobby. But gambling, when you wake up, you think about gambling, you go to sleep dreaming about gambling, you eat, be like, oh, I need to gamble. You, instead of going to work, you go to gamble. Or when you get off work, I need to gamble. Same with
Again,
gaming.
I feel like that's hard to say though, because let's say we're doing controllers, and I'm like, at first it started off as a hobby. I only did mine. A bunch of people end up liking them, so I start doing them for other people. Now that I've been doing them for other people for so long, and I realize how good I've gotten at it, I'm gonna make this into a business. And in order for me to full-fledged step out there on that ledge and I'm gonna make this into a business, for me, I have to tackle it full force. This is, I
But
quit my job, I invested all my money into
but
this,
then that's the
and
difference. Then that becomes a difference between it being an addiction and it turning into a job instead of an addiction. Like
You
we
know, that kind of falls into my situation. You know, like I quit my job, yeah, but I've always looked at streaming as more of a place where you could connect with people and as a job.
It's Mr.
You know, like
Maxwell, baby.
it's yeah. I've been like I'm not gonna lie, I'm addicted to gaming. At the end of the day, you know, it's
agreed.
one of the things that I personally love doing that takes your
Gaming is
mind off of
life.
yeah, it takes your mind off of the bullshit throughout life. But at the end of the day, it's just if you know you're good at something, showcase it, you know? Like I know for a fact, in my heyday of Warzone, like I haven't played Warzone in a while and I started picking it back up again. When I was really good at it, like the biggest compliment you could get as a gamer is being called a hacker.
When you're not.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's like I got that consistently throughout every time I streamed, and I got, oh, he's hacking. I'm like, yep, that was like that's my confidence booster.
Yeah, because my boy's too good.
Dang, I mean, but like when it comes down to it, it's like streaming to me now, because now I'm a full time streamer. If you look at it, because I did finally quit that hellhole of a job that like screwed me over. So I'm treating it more of a business and still like keeping in touch with the people that come in and like, hey, how's it going? You know, like, so I hear you on that, you know, like gaming to me is an addiction. It's a good addiction. Um, it like helps you out throughout the day with like however you feel. You just hop on. It's not like you're drinking alcohol, getting shit faced, and like doing dumb stuff. You know, like it's it's a
But
good addiction.
I think everything should have a limitation though, because
Agreed.
it couldn't actually consume your life, where you won't even realize it yourself, and then it'll really like take over your life. You'll be like, what? Like sometimes you'll notice it, and sometimes you won't, and others will
Holy
be like,
shit, I'm
dude, get
still
the
sitting
fuck out
here.
of that room and stop
Yeah.
playing video games. Go do something. It could take over your life. That's why I say like limitations are good.
Just like anything, any big hobby. Yeah. Like Blue was saying with the gambling. It could be great. You could make money. You could hell even people have even made gambling a fucking like job. Like this is all they do and they actually live off of it. But there comes a time where if you keep losing and you're still losing and you're still losing, like it's not a good addiction anymore. Just like gaming, I used it to numb the pain, I guess, of like a big point in my life. And I noticed myself literally just like I was staring at a screen more than taking care of myself. Like that's an issue. There's a problem there. So
I think
and I guess
gaming I think gaming is like the perfect example of escaping reality. That's what it is. We don't want to deal with real life, so gaming to us is the best way to escape the real life we deal with every day.
I think I kind of asked that question too, so we can kind of differentiate again when it's still a hobby or when it's become a drive versus an addiction. Because I guess you can get some people that argue, you know, just win is enough. Because again, it starts off as a hobby. I want to sink everything I have into it and make this into my reality. I want to make this my job. I want to make this my passion. And you become successful to it. And then you can have those same people argue who aren't successful with it. Like, hey, it's not an addiction. Now I'm continuing to do it. I don't want to give up on this dream. And I feel like that's where a lot of people fall short is you have to know when to call it quits. Again, when it's an addiction. Now you might think in your head, hey, this is just still drive. I have the drive to still want to do this. I know it's gonna work. And it's like you have to know when to give it up. You have to know when now, yeah, you're addicted. Like you're addicted to wanting to do this. It's not drive anymore. It's not a hobby for you anymore. You're addicted. Now you're just spiraling.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, what you about to say, Polyman?
I was gonna say when it comes down to an addiction to something, like for instance, an example. I'll just give you guys like a cold, like reality version of my addiction. The reason why I'm addicted to gaming more than like recently more is where I'm at, where I live. There's nothing to do. There's like all the friends that I've had, they're either married or I don't keep contact with them. So it's like that's why I game most of the time is try to meet more friends online to if that makes sense. Like yeah, I'm addicted to gaming. I love the concept of it and just like going out there and just showcasing your best version. But like that's the reality. It's like if I was to not game and just stay at home and do nothing, there's literally nothing I could do out there because I live in the mountains and it's just like everything's far as fuck.
I think you would think that you would find something to do though. Like if gaming was just not even a thing. Like let's say you couldn't game or something, like whatever. Like I feel like you would find another hobby though. Like
You
that you
would.
can't say there's nothing. Like you could pick up bicycling or
You would. You
fucking
would.
yeah.
So I've gone, look, in my area, we live right in front of a mountain. I used to go with my ATV up top. Then they closed it down because late at night, truckers would go off-roading. So they completely closed it off. So that's one of my other hobbies they cut off. And if I was to take my ATV somewhere else, I would have to drive like an hour or two to go and do it. And I'm not down to do that. Another thing is I would go hiking up there. And the lady at that fence would say, "What are you doing trespassing?" And I would say, "I live down here. I'm just going hiking." And then the cops get involved. So that's another thing I can't do that I love. Then I would have to drive another hour to go hiking in this place I love. So it's like, what am I gonna do in my area? That those two are my biggest other hobbies that I loved, which was ATVing and hiking. But
You
I would
said
have to.
soccer, karaoke, working out. Like these are other hobbies that you have that like if you weren't gaming.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I know we're kind of like getting sidetracked with
no,
it,
no,
but
you're
like
playing devil's advocate. I understand
I
what you mean.
am, yeah, I like a good debate. Like, I mean, it's like, yeah, you enjoy gaming and that's awesome and that's what you do. I just don't think that people could say that that's all they can do. Like that can't be the only outlet. Like even for me, I love gaming. That's what I choose to do, but I could do other things.
Let me hold on real quick, Paul, man. Let me interject real quick, just to play devil's advocate with her devil's advocate. So yes, you are right. Like if there was something else, you can do that, right? But here's the thing, and here's the thing that you always run into. Like yes, if gaming never existed, you could run into that. But in these cases, that's like it exists. So, and that's the outlet that, you happen to enjoy the most. So that's where it ends up being that this is what you're always doing because it's something that you find out that you enjoy the most and it helps you the most. Like, yes, you could fall into other hobbies, but you can never enjoy them as much as you can every other hobby.
I agree.
It doesn't help you get, even though I don't want to use getting away because that sounds kind of negative, but it doesn't help you as much as it helps you more than every other hobby does.
Not only that, I feel like that kind of leads into, I mean, I guess it's a little bit off topic, you know, even if he did find a different hobby, you know, just as he said, well, now to go ATV and it's 2 hours away or whatever. And like I said, this is completely off topic, but I think even where he is, you're like, if you don't find gaming, you'll have to find somewhere else. That's when you just move. You're like, there's nothing for me to do here. I don't have any hobbies or anything that interests me here anymore. I gotta go. And you just move. But again, that just leads into something completely different. It kind of takes us off topic.
No, and I wasn't necessarily saying like I know I mentioned like what if gaming never existed, but even with it existing, like it could just be something as simple as like maybe you don't get internet up there, or maybe you know like so it could be anything that like I don't think that if gaming was taken away from you that you would have nothing to do. Like, and that goes for everybody. I think if we just literally couldn't game, like yeah, we all equally, well not maybe not equally, maybe more on some people than others, but I'm saying like we all agree that gaming is one of our largest hobbies.
Yep.
But if it was to be that one of us like something we were going through something or we didn't have access to it, I don't believe that we're all just gonna sit down and fucking twiddle our thumbs because there's nothing else to do. Like
Yeah.
I used to be really into film. I used to watch movies, old movies, new movies. Like I used to just be super into film, like not even gaming. Like that was something else. Like there's gonna be something.
I agree with you, but then I ran into but then that kind of runs into a thing where then it becomes a cycle where if you lose into like if you forget about gaming, right, and then you go into one of your other hobbies, that hobby will become what gaming is to you, right?
Right.
So then it's just going to be an endless cycle of you dealing with that one hobby where that hobby is everything to you. Like for me, you know, gaming is a huge thing in my life, but also the thing I found is reading, and to be more effective, reading manga is a huge, and kind of what Blue was saying, was asking like when does a hobby turn into addiction, where it's more of an addiction for me where I can't go a day without reading it, like without sitting down and reading the manga, because you know, and I or just like thinking about it all over and over again, because for me that's a hobby that gets me away from everything in terms of interacting with people, in terms of just dealing with people in general. So, and if that was taken away from me, then gaming would be will be that complete thing where that's what I focus on 100% 24/7 instead of reading or, you know, watching anime or watching Rick and
Right, but
Morty. Yeah.
there is something else.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's yeah, that's all I was saying. Paulie was saying that without gaming he has nothing, but I just can't agree with that. Like I think everybody can find something.
I know, but I also
Yeah.
understand what he means. Oh, but what were you about to say, Polly?
I've tried it. You know, like I've tried doing things around when, for instance, my power's out. Um, like because in my area it's a fire zone, so it's like when the winds pick up, they completely shut down the electricity. So I have literally no power. So I've tried doing other things around the house or outside of the house. You know, it's like, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's like I've done a lot before figuring out that in that area, gaming is the best thing for me.
And I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying I feel like everybody kind of got what I said the wrong way. Just all I'm
No, no,
saying
no,
is
no.
it's
We're not.
not everything. Like it can't be the only thing. Like you do have other things if gaming isn't available.
No, no, no. We're not saying that you're not wrong. We understand you're playing devil's advocate with it. We're just sharing our parts of it, you know, and our beliefs. So nobody's just
Yeah,
like,
no, I
yeah.
kind of get her point. She's just basically saying if we did not know about gaming, like you said, you tried to do other things in case it's spotty or whatever, but that's because in your mind you still know there is gaming. If
Yeah,
that
it's still
actually
there.
was
Yeah.
not an option, then yeah, you'd find something else to do. It's like the same thing I said earlier about the significant other. You needing somebody. You know, you don't need somebody. You're gonna eventually figure out things on your own, and I know that's kind of where you're leading into. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of went into the addiction part, but when hobbies become jobs, right? And it becomes business oriented. You know how, and it's funny because when I really think about it, when your hobby becomes a job, when it becomes very business oriented, that's where a lot of people end up losing interest in their hobbies. And I want to see, and I just want to know, do you guys notice that?
Absolutely.
So, well, Paul, you about to say something?
I was just gonna say I have a friend that's a streamer. That gaming was literally his hobby, biggest hobby, and he got into streaming. Now he doesn't even game off stream. He just does it on stream, and he treats it as a business.
Yeah. So like, and that's the crazy part about it. So, I kind of want the viewers to really think about it too. Is like, if you really, and we talked about it, and Blue actually mentioned this earlier, was like how a lot of these millionaires, billionaires, did everything based off of their hobbies. But the thing is, and the reason why a lot of people can't even do that is because once it becomes a business, like once it becomes a job to you, then it's no longer something that you enjoy. Like everybody enjoys making money. Not many people enjoy fame, but once it becomes a job, and especially when it becomes a headache and struggle, and every business, every job, you deal with the struggles, you deal with the upsets, all that. And when it becomes a job, that's why a lot of people end up quitting their hobbies, because it runs into, oh, damn, like now I'm not interested in this because this is something that I deal with every day. And now I'm just doing it for money. And that's why a lot of people quit. Now, if they stick with it, they could have been those millionaires. But since a lot of people decide to quit, that's where the problem starts to show, is that they don't have as much passion into it, because they now turn this into a job. They turned it into them just making money 24/7 instead of doing it when they want to do it. But, let me hear your opinions on that.
I always said if I was a maid that I would have the messiest house.
Why?
I enjoy cleaning. I like cleaning, but if I actually made it a career, I would never want to. Or I used to do auto glass, and well, I'm still in the auto glass industry, but I used to actually like replace the windshields, and my windshield was always the fucking most cracked windshield. Like I didn't want to come home and do my own fucking windshield. Like I think, yeah, absolutely. Whether it's a hobby or not, like even just like work in general, like even if you enjoyed this thing before, it's like you might still enjoy your job, but you're not going to want to come home and do it majority of the time.
That
Yeah.
also goes with like when I used to work at LA Fitness. Before that, I used to love working out, but once I worked there as a assistant manager, I stopped working out because I was like, fuck it, like I work here. Why am I gonna work out? Like it was weird.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed, and we're kind of about to wrap it up in a little bit, just 'cause I know some people have to go. But one thing that I noticed is that one thing that I noticed, especially when it comes to their jobs, is, and especially like for like streamers, is that they will play. They want to play games, like gamers who likes to stream, like they love to play games. They do it all the time, but then it becomes a point where when they're streaming that game constantly, there becomes a point where there's a lot of times, I'm not saying it's everybody, but there's a lot of times where they won't play it out of stream. Or like, say for instance, like people who play Call of Duty all the time on stream, and that's their job, is to stream Call of Duty content. There's going to be a lot of times where if it's not to get better at it, then we or then they decide like, I'm not going to touch this unless, I'm streaming it. So yeah, but I know people gotta go, so can you guys please give us your last opinions on everything, and then we'll end it off with that.
I think what I took from today was love yourself before you can accept or expect people to love you. That's about it.
Okay.
There was
Okay,
tons
okay.
of it. I'm not
Yeah,
going to be able to
yeah,
cover it in
yeah.
a closing sentence, but
I think what I got from all of it was the most important thing for me was just from my experience. I don't think I'll ever do online dating again. More power to the people who can work it out, but for me, it was a disaster, and I don't think I'll put myself in that position again.
Okay, Polyman, what about you?
Mine, what I learned is two things. Is basically don't expect people to give you like insane amount of love. Like how respect people the way you want to be respected, whatever. It's the same thing like how Mello was saying kind of thing. Like I learned that, and with the hobbies, it's like if you love your hobby, you fucking full force it. Like enjoy your hobby. Don't let anybody or anything come in the way between it because it's your hobby. Even if it's making Xbox controllers, it's gaming, it's painting, whatever it is. If you love doing that as your hobby, full send it.
Okay, and I know Blue is dealing with fire drill right now, so I don't think he'll be able to give us his last thoughts. But first of all, I want to say thank you all. I appreciate all the love I get for these streams. I appreciate you guys for even participating in this. Last things the things that I kind of caught from this is that there's a lot of expectations and a lot of things that we take from the public and from social media when it comes to dating, and we try to make that into our relationships and try to make it perfect. And then also going into the hobbies topic, that there's always like that you become unhappy when you turn a hobby into a job, and that's a problem. So if you decide to ever do that, viewers, I believe that make sure that is something that you are 100% sure in doing. But guys, if you guys would like to post your guys's Twitch, YouTube, or whatever, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, into the stream chat so that the viewers can follow you, that'd be much appreciated. And I will, and hopefully all you guys can stay in the chat so I can talk to you guys after, do what I normally do with that. And I'm about to talk to the viewers alone real quick. So can you guys say goodbye?
thank you. Bye.
Thanks
Au
so
revoir.
much. Appreciate being here. Bye bye.
Okay, brother.
All right, guys. Okay, everybody. So this is about to be the end of the stream. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the stream. We had Mello, we had that dude Shanto, we had Polyman TV, we had Blue Gaming. These are really good friends of mine. They're really smart people. They have very interesting content. I know Polyman streams every day. I know Mello streams consistently too. And Blue Gaming is getting back onto his streaming schedule. So please go check out their channels. That'll be very much appreciated. And thank you so much for tuning in for this. I'm doing another one Thursday. It's probably just going to be me, and it's going to be Thanksgiving special. Just talking to you guys, especially since I'm gonna be here by myself. I can't really go see my family just because of financial issues, but thank you guys for tuning into the stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you YouTube, thank you Spotify listeners for tuning into this. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, good holidays, and I will see you guys later.